Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at throttlenet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named #1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye, and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
You can listen to 97.1 FM Talk online anytime. Just go to 971talk.com, where you can listen live and even rewind. Or download the app for your phone at radio.com. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Happy Monday, folks. Welcome into the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for being here. It's great to have the opportunity to come talk to you, and always grateful when you choose us in the afternoon here on 97.1 FM or wherever you are listening to us from. Of course, right when the show starts, my eye starts watering. I'm going to dab my eye right now, and I am sad that it's Monday, but not this sad.
You're only sad on the left side of your face, apparently.
I know. I can see things from both ways. Just this is actually the right side of my face, but
yeah, you're well balanced is what that's saying.
Woo, man, burning eyes. You know, there's so many things that took place this weekend, and it's the same story that we've been discussing for the last, I don't know, how long has 2020 been? What month is it? It's halfway through September, folks. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Hey,
just remember when you go, I can't believe it's Christmas already. You'd be like, well, Annie's been saying that for 3 months. So I'm trying to ease you into it.
We've been prepared.
Yeah. Gosh, this eye thing is a disaster.
That happens to me a lot, especially because of mascara.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is just my natural face.
Yeah.
Don't mind the black stuff that's running out of my eye right now. I cry black tears. Just on Mondays. It's so sad.
Must be a Monday. My favorite radio show host is crying her black tears.
Yeah. They're like pink and rainbow sunshine on Fridays. I cry every day. So I've noticed something here, and it occurred to me because the stories that we're talking about, when I go to look at, because I do pay attention to the news somewhat on the weekends, you know, the headlines, whatever comes across the news alerts on my phone, I see that and I go, ooh, does this deserve my attention on the weekend? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But then it's also on social media, and I do a pretty good job in my own personal social media of trying to weed out the politics. Like, I don't want to have political fights on my Facebook. I'm mostly talking about Facebook. Twitter is only political fighting, right?
Yep.
Or did I
there's
just
nothing
not?
else.
Is there a different corner of Twitter that I have not yet discovered?
No, it's just political fights and then people promoting books or other things.
But the political fights on Twitter, there's more brevity there. So I kind of appreciate it, except for it's just an onslaught, never-ending troll of political bickering. Here's the problem with our country right now. It's not what we're fighting about. It's how we're fighting about it. We've always had a difference in opinions. We've always come to the table, to the conference room, to the assembly hall, and had difference of opinion. But how do we go about sharing that? And man, I don't know that there's ever been a worse time in American history than right now about how we speak to one another. And I think social media is probably to blame. The access that we have to type things out, and this is not new information for folks out there who are like, oh, you think social media is a problem with our discourse? Annie's really on it today. She's crying black tears. It's just a matter of sometimes it hits you in the face with how free we are to lump together the political fights that we care about, and we all care about different political fights. We all have different dogs in the proverbial fight here, where for me, it could be maybe I have a loved one who is fighting overseas in the military and making sure that we support and honor and respect our military and, of course, care for them when we bring them home. Maybe that's the number one thing to me. Maybe it's, fighting for pro-life advocacy and making sure that the unborn have a chance to have that right to life that they absolutely do have. That maybe that's the thing for me. Maybe it's lower taxes. Maybe I'm the third generation owning a business, and it's never been harder for me to do business than it is right now because I live in a state where the governor is only concerned about numbers on a page and not actual real human beings who are having their livelihood threatened, their ability to provide for themselves. Maybe that's what it is. We all have our own things. And wherever you land on any particular issue, there's a side that you're going to land on. And it is possible, I will add, that you could land on one side of the aisle on one issue and another side of the aisle on another issue. Maybe your big thing is the Second Amendment. Maybe that's your single issue that you vote on. And that puts you squarely in the Joe Biden camp, or that puts you squarely in Donald Trump's camp. Whatever your issue is, nobody's talking about the issues. We're just fighting with each other in the nastiest possible way. And we do it the most with the people who we're supposed to love the most. What is up with that? The people you're supposed to be able to have these important conversations with, you can't do it. It's not possible anymore. To the extent where you get so afraid to bring it up because you know where it's going that you quit talking about it. And then one side is screaming and the other side is hiding. It's a huge problem. We are so lost in the way that we are trying to make our points right now that we have now had this weekend 2 police officers shot in a vehicle that was parked, shot at point blank range. And then these asinine, moronic, awful, horrendous, deplorable protesters go block the emergency room entrance in Los Angeles because they have a political point to make. We don't value life. We don't value relationships. We don't value people. You know who we value? Ourselves. It's about me. It's all about me and what I want. And I need to, gosh darn it, do whatever it takes to get my point across. And trust me, I can yell louder than you. That's the way we live our lives now. We have no value. There's no commonality among us all. The one thing that we should all value together is life. That's the one thing that we can't argue with each other if we don't have our lives. That is the one thing that should be important to every single one of us, no matter where we came from, no matter how we got here, no matter how we were raised, our lives should matter. You can't even say that. You get to the point where in order to have a conversation about the ridiculous nature of even the suggestion that we would block emergency rooms so 2 police officers who are gunned down sitting in their vehicle, not actively engaged in anything at that very specific moment, where those, just because they're police officers, they don't have a right to A, life in the first place, and B, the follow-up to that from these protesters is to say that they don't have a right to medical assistance and medical health that could be life-saving. So if you now want to discuss, this has gone too freaking far. There's no movement out there right now that warrants that kind of behavior. There's nothing. The only movement that would warrant that kind of behavior is the removal of those individuals so that those officers or whomever they were, I don't care if they would have been somebody who would have been, involved in a crime. If they are being rushed to the hospital in order to receive life-saving medical care, they need access to the hospital. That's obvious. And it is obvious to all of us. It's obvious to you. It's obvious to me. We all know it. But we don't know how to say it, because if you say it, then somebody says, well, don't you think this matters? Or don't you think that matters? Or why do you hate these people? Or why do you hate those people? So you keep your mouth shut. And meanwhile, you could have one conversation about maybe why it should be, maybe in your local community, you want somebody to get put on a county board system, and you put it up there, and someone finds out that that person's a Republican. And then you got to get told about how dumb, awful, sexually predatory Donald Trump is. You're like, I just want them to fix the road in front of my street. It's insane. And it's so insane that we keep our mouths shut. We don't push back anymore. And we're afraid of what we're going to be accused for if you just step into the realm of some common sense conservative or common sense Republican values. I'm not talking about, you get out your Republican suitcase and you start unpacking it all over their living room. That's not what I'm talking about. The very instance of identifying yourself in our society today as a Republican is a threat to yourself. That's a problem. And I go back to my original point. It's not what we're arguing about. We're not actually even arguing about anything. It's how we're doing it. My opinion is, my observation is, and it's not a fail safe. It's not every time, everywhere, but it is the vast majority of cases that there is one side of the aisle right now who will shout at you until you shut your mouth and learn your lesson. And then there is another side of the aisle that not going to speak up, not going to be bold enough to go challenge and push back. Here's my challenge to you. Challenge the way that these people are approaching it. Don't even talk about the issues. I did on Friday. Was it Thursday or Friday when I was talking about the gender reveal parties? I don't remember what
that was Thursday.
Oh, that was you. You were here, right?
Yeah, I was here.
Mm-hmm. The entire point of what I was talking about, there was a gender reveal party that apparently started some of these wildfires that are in California. There was an article written by an author on CNN who was talking about, let's stop burning down forests with gender reveal parties. I can agree on that. I'm right there with you on that. And also talking about how this author did not approve of gender reveal parties. I actually don't like them either. If you're going to do it, I don't care. If you invite me, I'll come and I will give you a gift. But I just think that they're so self-indulgent that's kind of where our society is leaned to in our Instagram influencer world that we live in right now. It's all like, oh, everybody look at me. Mm-hmm. It's just that it's a reality of life, but it's something that the sooner you learn it, the happier you'll be. Nobody cares about it as much as you do. That doesn't mean that they don't care. They just don't care as much as you do. And when they get pregnant, you're not going to care as much as they do. And that's the way it's supposed to work, because you're the parent in that scenario and they're not. We can value each other all together. But the point of this author in the CNN column was that the words that this author used was that they didn't think that it was right for us to, in her words, rip the agency away from the baby to choose or identify their own gender before they pass through the birth canal. And my comment to that is, I will have that conversation with you. I will discuss that with you. I will listen to what you have to say about this because I want to hear why you feel that way. I want to know what your experiences are, what lends you to come to the point where you feel like you need to put pen to paper in a CNN article and write this. But I want you to listen to my side of this as well. And my side of this is that if we are going to not rip the agency of these babies to identify with their own gender before they pass through the birth canal, can we please not rip their arms, their limbs, their body parts from them before they come out of the birth canal either? And if I listen to you, will you listen to me? You don't have to change my mind. I don't have to change your mind. But what if we could have that conversation? What if we could discuss those two issues that are most likely diametrically opposed on the political spectrum? But what if I would listen to that author? And what if that author would listen to me? And at the end, we both thought what we thought when we came into that conversation. But now we understood where the other person was coming from. And maybe we didn't change our minds. Maybe we actually became even more affirmative in what we walked into that conversation believing in the first place. But what if we listened to each other instead of shouting at each other and saying that you're a party to rapists, or you're a party to murderers, or you're a party to bigots or homophobes, or whatever it is? Like, what if we just listened? I don't understand how anybody in a society that can be caring and compassionate to one another can say that we shouldn't listen to one another. Nobody's listening right now, folks. Nobody is listening. Everybody is shouting. And if you've been shouted at one too many times, you've kept your mouth shut. And it makes it look like there's an echo chamber out there. What's the solution, folks? I don't know. I'm just starting to identify the problem. And once we can identify the problem, maybe we can get to the point where we can identify a solution. But we're going to have to do it together. You're going to have to find some willing folks, whichever side of the aisle you fall on. You're going to have to find some willing folks who are going to have these conversations with you with the point of listening, not changing each other's mind. Gosh, every weekend we come back here and the world has gotten just a little bit crazier. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. And I haven't even talked about, the global pandemic that we're in the middle of. We'll talk about it when we come back next, though. Dr. Scott Hardeman with Urgent Specialist is going to come on with us. He's a physician at Gateway ENT, and we're going to get some non-biased medical expertise from Dr. Hardeman when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
Hi, this is Craig Jensen, trial attorney at Meyer Jensen PC. Justice is your right, but not without a fight. Sometimes bad injuries happen to good people, and there is always a reason more than saying it was just an accident. At Meyer Jensen, we have over 30 years experience fighting for people's rights, and we will fight for your rights at every phase of your case. If you've been injured because of someone else's carelessness, you need a lawyer who will level the playing field. Call Meyer Jensen at 618-463-1000 or visit us at meyerjensen.com.
Get big savings on big names right now at Ambassador Floor and Midwest Floor. I'm Brian McGee. Shop now and save up to 30% off all Shaw floors, including hardwood, carpet, even Tough-Tex. Save 30% off the largest selection of Cortec, the originator of luxury vinyl plank. Plus, we employ over 100 master craftsmen, so your new floors are installed right now. Don't miss 30% off Shaw floors at any of our 4 locations. Experience more in Ambassador Floor and Midwest Floor.
Find your perfect Mazda with significant savings from all 3 Bomarito Mazda locations. Over 200 Mazda CX-5 to choose from in every color and style. Plus, every new Mazda has the Bomarito nationwide warranty, 10 years, 200,000 miles. Lease a 2020 Mazda CX-5 with 0 down for $299 per month, and Bomarito will make your first payment. That's at all 3 Bomarito Mazda locations.
liberty.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Marvelous, because I, a thespian, have been on a quest for the perfect insurance.
Sweet balcony.
I've requested no less than 13 balconies.
That's a lot.
All the world's a stage.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, thou customize and thou saveth.
That's the spirit.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Napa know-how. Get all the quality parts you need at your locally owned Napa. Because right now, when you order from Napa online, you can pick up curbside at your local store in just 30 minutes. Or get your order delivered direct to your door with free one-day shipping on over 160,000 quality parts when you spend $35 or more. Quality parts delivered quickly and safely. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, standard ground shipping and exclusions apply.
Infinite Wellness Center in Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, and Dr. Ryan are there to help you with your achy joints, with that constant frustration that you have with your knee that's bugging you and you maybe thought about surgery. You're sick of taking the steroid shots or the pain pills. He's got a solution that could work for you. And I want you to go and give him a call at 618-655-0333. That's 618-655-0333. Find out about their regenerative medicine protocols. Also, he can work with your budget. Depending on damage, that care that you need may be covered by insurance, including Medicare. Plus, here's the best part for me to be able to tell you, 25% off for listeners of this show when you call and you mention my name. 618-655-0333. Mention Annie and save and get those achy arthritic joints taken care of. Online at infinitewc.com.
Hello, fashion-conscious home lovers. Let's transform your lovely home's sense of fashion with the most beautifully current and stylish chic designer window treatments. Just contact Michael for an in-home visit at proctordrapery.com. 7 days. It's Proctor, spelled like doctor.
Proctor Drapery, the best in town. No finer window fashion can be found. Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
How often do you talk to your radio? Tweet during middays at Annie Frey Show from noon to 3 with at Radio Wiggins and at KFits971. And tell us what you think about what's happening now.
And I said what I've been saying all along, that I believe that we will have a vaccine that will be available by the end of this year, the beginning of next year. But by the time you mobilize the distribution of the vaccinations and you get the majority or more of the population vaccinated and protected, that's likely not going to happen till the mid or end of 2021. So in direct response to that person's question, I said, if you're talking about getting back to a degree of normality, which resembles where we were prior to COVID, it's going to be well into 2021, maybe even towards the end of 2021.
Oh, gosh. The end of 2021. So we're still in this for the long haul, it sounds like, if you believe what Dr. Fauci is saying here. We've been doing this for months now. We've had Dr. Scott Hardeman. He's an ENT, a physician at Gateway ENT, and also at Urgent Specialist. Go to urgentspecialist.com. And we've been trying to have a non-political conversation each week on Mondays where we can ask your questions, we can ask our questions of Doctor to get some actual factual information. And this Monday is no different. Doctor, thank you so much for coming back on here. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Great to be back with you.
So when you hear Dr. Fauci saying, I hear things in worst case scenarios. I don't know if everybody else does, but I just heard worst case scenario. We wouldn't get back to a semblance of normal till the end of 2021. Based on the information that you've seen and the numbers that you've seen, do you think, can you define maybe what he means by normal, or does that timeline seem about right to you?
Well, it's nothing like removing a little bit of hope from people, and then you make statements like that in the middle of the weary fatigue we all have right now as it is.
Tamp it down, though.
Don't tamp it down, right? I think that Dr. Fauci and the crew seems to be really focused singularly on vaccines. I think when they're discussing that, and I think the jury is still out on when the vaccines will be available. There's multiple different trials. Some are rapidly escalating closer to completion at this point, but the efficacy of the vaccine and the safety long term is still going to have to be evaluated. So best case scenario, you start to vaccinate people towards the end of the year here. It's going to take some time to, first distribute and vaccinate the frontline workers, healthcare providers, folks that are in nursing homes, elderly, more at-risk population. So it obviously just logistically is going to take some time to do that. But that's if you put all your eggs in the basket of a vaccine is the only way out of this. And we've discussed this before. I don't think it's a good position to be in, to just live in fear in your basement waiting for a vaccine to come along to save us. At this point, there's certainly other treatment options, and there's just a natural selection that's taking place where people are getting milder forms of disease that are hopefully going to then help to prevent some of those chains of transmissions or break them down a little bit as well.
Dr. Hardeman, are you referring to specifically that, if it's not a vaccine, that we would hit something like herd immunity? And if so, where are we at on that timetable?
Well, I don't know that anyone really knows just yet what that percentage is. It's largely accepted in most illnesses. It's in that 60 to 70% of a population before the transmission slows. But that hasn't really been the case in certain states or in other countries where they've taken a slightly different approach, or where they've had it run fairly rampant through society. It seems like the percentage, not to eliminate it, again, I don't know that we're at a point where we're just going to say this is going to be eliminated for good, but to a point where you can reasonably be out and about and think that folks you're coming in contact with, you're not going to contract it from them and or be exposed to it. So I don't have a perfect answer to that. I don't know that anyone really does. But if you look at states like New York or New Jersey or countries like Sweden and other places where they've taken a different approach and stayed open more, exposing population, it seems like that the transmission rate seems to slow significantly when there's less of the population, maybe around 25, 30% of the population that's been exposed to it. It's difficult for us to know where we are with that because we don't always get positives and negatives reported, as was discussed obviously in the past couple of weeks, as far as where we are as a positivity rate and what we're seeing in general.
I'm glad you brought up the positivity rate. We're speaking with Dr. Scott Hardeman. He's a physician at Gateway ENT here in St. Louis, also with Urgent Specialists, the best in urgent care in the area. Go to urgentspecialists.com to find out more. If you were in charge, if you were king of the world right now, is there a number, a stat that you would be looking at as opposed to case positivity rate? I know here in Illinois, that's what we're using, and a lot of people are teetering on losing their businesses because of the case positivity rate. Is there a better statistic to measure how we're doing here?
I don't think there's any one. That's a decent one to look at, but you have to believe the data, right? You have to know that what's being reported is true, and you're not just seeing positives reported. You need to see that compared to total numbers of cases of tests being done, or essentially the negative test, to be able to really get a true sense of what that is. And I think there's plenty of examples out there of how not all the testing data is accurately being reported, just because of the sheer volume of it and just the reporting tools in place. So I don't think you can rely solely on that. I think you have to look at overall hospitalizations and the severity of illness. There's a number of factors come into play, but if you look across the board, our numbers in the state of Missouri have kind of trickled down. Our percent death rate is kind of dwindling down now, not from where it was a high towards the end of August, first part of September. The case numbers are down and seem to be leveling a little bit. And, there's going to be ups and down spikes based upon that. But we're 4 weeks into some schools being in session at this point, some sports teams outside the area and schools outside the St. Louis County area that are performing well and not having big increases in numbers of cases as well. So there's a number of factors to look at. Case positivity is not an unreasonable thing to look at, but unless you can really believe the data and know that it's certainly being reported correctly, it's awfully hard to say that's the one metric to use.
Dr. Hardeman, I know you said that implementing a vaccine might take a little bit of time, more than we're comfortable with, at least at this point. Everybody wants it, and they want it now, but But if we're able to implement that, and let's say that it's really fast, even by our standards here talking to you, what's going to be the long-term mental impact? And I'm asking you as a physician, for people who've gotten used to this being the way of life and social distancing and wearing masks, is it going to be something that it still is going to take us time to come out of mentally?
I think so. I think we've all encountered people during the course of our day from different walks of life that have different views on this. There are some that are fairly cavalier and feel like it's not a real thing, to those that are literally living in fear of this at every moment. I think the vast majority are not polarized to one extreme or the other, but probably have this feeling of just almost desperation that they want this to end, to return to something of normalcy now. But I think it's going to take some time. It is surprising how psychologically the impact of this has really hit kids and young adults and really society in general, that it's almost created that wary eye that you have of your neighbor. And while we want to get out from beneath that, I bet it takes some time, even if they were to lift all restrictions, for people to feel comfortable with that. And part of that is because it gets fueled a lot. Obviously, there's a lot out in the media that really sort of looks at always the negative side of this versus even small but positive things that happen that make us feel better, that maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of this. And I think people need to remember in general that, the vast majority of people that get this do very well, have mild to moderate symptoms. And so it's a small percentage of people that actually have, terrible outcomes or, God forbid, death. But we know who those folks are to a large degree and protect them. And then they need to be able to implement every possible treatment when necessary. And from a preventive perspective, the vaccines can be helpful to restoring some of that confidence. I just am not convinced it's going to be super quick to get to that point.
I heard the president say, Doctor, that he's excited for the vaccine. He's thrown out some dates potentially, and we'll all believe that when it happens. And
right.
Not putting any dates on my calendar as of right now. But he frequently talks about how he's much more interested in therapeutics. Mm-hmm. He's interested in the vaccine, but that the therapeutics thing is the thing he's really keying in on. Can you explain to us kind of how those two work together, or the difference or the benefit to having one over the other?
Yeah, it's the whole picture, I think, that we were discussing, that to get past this, obviously vaccines, herd immunity, however we get to that helps to slow down the transmission and make people out in the public and in the communities less susceptible to it. But you also have to acknowledge that there's people that are going to get this. And so being able to treat them with therapeutics, right now there are very few that are, quote unquote, officially approved to treat coronavirus. And that is kind of a frustrating thing from the perspective of medicine, is that we sort of only treat people when they get really sick and in the hospital. And obviously we're all trained and spend our careers trying to intervene early on and prevent people from getting to that point. So therapeutics are continuing to be developed. There's still a lot of discussion going on around things with hydroxychloroquine and vitamin D and supplements and other medications to try and boost your immune system. Steroids in the sicker patients in the hospital, such as Decadron. There's other anti-inflammatory drugs that are used for rheumatoid arthritis that are actually hit the news in the past couple of days. There's some early data on those that they may shorten hospitalizations. Of course, remdesivir. All of these medications, should be considered. Convalescent plasma is, yet another example of that, as well as some antibody therapy that can be, genetically created as well. So all of it comes into play for the overall picture, which is to give us options to treat when people are sick, hopefully keep people from getting overly ill and getting into the hospital. And desperation there is if we just hope we can treat people outpatient at some point with something that tends to stave that off. And then, of course, using vaccine therapy to slow down transmission as well.
Well, Doctor, I want to take a quick break. We've got some people who are asking some questions here, and we want to encourage them to continue to do that. We're going to take listener questions through our Facebook Live at facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, or on the Annie Frey YouTube Live as well. Comment your question there, and we will throw them at the doctor when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating over 50 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Mark Cox here for my friends at Pretzel Stop. You've heard me talking about Pretzel Stop for a while now. They're right there on Jungerman Road, just off Highway 94 next to Kohl's and across from Walmart. And Tony and his team are doing a great job. They've got an enormous variety of brats and sausages stuffed into a pretzel bun. But Pretzel Stop's about a lot more than that. They've got gourmet sandwiches, the chicken salad pretzel sandwich. They've got gourmet burgers on a pretzel bun, barbecue barbecue on that warm pretzel bun, and even pretzel pizza. And they've got pretzel bites that are out of this world. Do yourself a favor and stop by there. They've got desserts like fruit smoothies and sinful sundaes, and they've got you covered. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, catering. They can even customize the shape of pretzels for parties. So for more information, check them out online. You can find them at pretzelstop.com or at 1650 Jungerman Road in St. Peters.
I'm super excited to tell you about this year's very final last Protecting Your Retirement educational event with Thomas Helbig. You need to get in on this. If you're 59 and a half years or older, you want to make sure that you are absolutely prepared for retirement. And the number one way to do that here in St. Louis is to connect with Thomas Helbig at the Retirement Advisory Group. So he is going to have another event. It's the Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, October 6th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. Put it on your calendar. Tuesday, October 6th. It starts at 6:30 p.m. And folks, the thing about these seminars is he does not keep you very long at all. It's maybe a 30-minute little thing. And he's going to explain to you how he can make sure that you go into retirement with the confidence that everything you've worked hard to save is going to be there for you when you need it. When it comes time for retirement to pay you back. Call 855-755-1555 to reserve your spot. That's 855-755-1555. Reserve your seat online as well at retirementkey.com.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis is looking to buy additional 5 houses in the next few weeks. We can pay cash and close in as little as 5 days. We buy houses in any condition, any location, and any situation throughout the St. Louis metro. Call today, 314-782-7000, or go to our website, www.chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. That's chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. Just go there, fill out your information, and we'll reach out to you. We buy houses and apartment buildings. Call us today to get an offer, 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. Or go online to www.chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. The process takes just 7 minutes to get a completely free, no-obligation cash offer for your property. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. 314-782-7000.
Selecting a financial advisor is one of the most important decisions you will make heading into retirement. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money every Saturday morning at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Choosing a financial advisor is a critical step in planning for your retirement. You want to find an advisor you can trust is working in your best interest with the experience to do the job well. Providing guidance solely in your best interest is foundational to our team's approach. And with over 90 years of combined experience, you can have confidence we have the depth of knowledge to help you navigate important financial decisions. If you're retiring in the next 5 years or need a second opinion on your current plan, contact us today for a free consultation. To schedule your free retirement planning consultation, contact us at bobstockdale.com. That's bobstockdale.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
97.1 FM Talk. Sean Hannity, Dave Glover, Annie Frey, Brian Kilmeade, Mark Cox. That's the lineup backward. Reminding you that you can rewind anytime at 971talk.com.
Try laughing until life starts to make sense. Try falling apart and starting again. Been around this town for way too long. Think it's time I finally got into this song. I've got heart, got soul, and some hush money. It's been a long time coming.
Now, with vaccines, the fastest vaccine ever to a phase 3 trial was 13 months. President Trump got it done in 4 months, and then he did the second one in 4 months and a week. And we have multiple vaccines now in phase 3 trials, which will allow us to get to the end of this pandemic faster than anyone thought possible.
Jared Kushner reacting to the speed with which we are going through vaccine trials for a solution here to COVID. We are joined each Monday by Dr. Scott Hardeman, who's a physician at Gateway ENT and an urgent specialist. Go online to urgentspecialist.com. You need to know this place for your urgent care, and it's good to know it now while you're not in the middle of needing urgent care so that when you do, you know where to go. Doctor, we've got some listener questions here. Ryan's gonna give you the first one, and we'll just kind of plow through these as quick as we can. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, we have a poster from our Instagram page asking or saying we were supposed to be worrying about bed and ventilator shortages. So I guess the question being, have we flattened the curve? Is there anywhere in the nation right now that's experiencing a shortage of beds or medical care?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that was the original goal of all of the shutdown during the early phase of the pandemic, was to try and make sure that we didn't overburden the hospital system. Part of that was ramp up time to get the necessary supplies and equipment and to really get a feel for where we are with this whole thing. The difference now is that we sort of opened up to routine care, if you will. And so hospitals are busy, and there's a backlog of cases and surgeries and things that need to be done. And so that does create its own unique level of potential strain if you're occupied with other non-COVID related things. But at least in this area, the hospital admission rates, ICU admissions and ventilatory support patients are stable, if not slowly decreasing. Again, ups and downs, but generally it's been stable and certainly not burdening the system. There are places of the country, Florida, Texas, Arizona, that had some pretty big spikes back over the past few months or so. Obviously, they're in the media quite a bit. And those places, I think, did have a fair bit of strain on the system. But I think overall, we're in a position nationwide where we've got adequate supplies, with some exceptions probably, and adequate hospital beds and ventilatory equipment.
All right, Dr. Hardeman, this is a question from Don, who's watching on the Annie Frey YouTube page. Says, if a healthy person catches the virus, what's the likelihood they catch it again? What do we know about recontracting of the disease?
So there's only a couple of verified, quote unquote, verified cases of contracting the illness a second time, literally two, to my knowledge, that are reported. It seems as if antibody levels, which again are only one part of our immune system and ability to fight this off, are at least staying up for 3 to 5 months or so after your initial infection. And we have the capacity to, if those antibody levels do drop off, to have our immune system still recognize things and mount an immune response to it. I would say generally that's not something that I would be fearful of or worried about as contracting a second time around. That's something I think we'll know a little more over time, but it seems as if, at least in the near short term, that your immune system will tend to fight it off, or it'll at least be a mild case if you were to get a second time. The two cases that were reported, one was completely asymptomatic the entire time, so it was picked up on a routine health screening, and the other one did get a little sicker, but had some secondary late phase things with their lungs that really was the driving reason for their outcome.
Okay.
Doctor, question from Shane. Why do they assume everyone has it and is transmitting it? And I would ask too, is it still that you can be asymptomatic and transmit it? Or are we looking more that now anyway, as opposed to March, that people who are showing symptoms are the most likely to transmit it?
Yes, I think this is a really great topic to discuss. And I think there's a lot to be learned about this that could go a long way to restoring confidence in the community. Is that, it's somewhat of a no-brainer if someone is symptomatic and has positive tests that they're shedding more virus. We've gone from March, where we thought that could be weeks and weeks and weeks, down to days prior to and days after the onset of their symptoms, assuming it's a mild to moderate case of time when they would transmit. I think it speaks to the nature of the virus and its ability to replicate. What we don't know on these asymptomatic cases, it's touted as high as 40% of cases that are asymptomatic can transmit like that in an asymptomatic state. But there's a lot of information coming up now on these PCR tests that are kind of the gold standard. That are they too sensitive? Are we picking up such minuscule amounts of viral load that random encounter with someone would be transmissible? And the answer is probably that's the case. It's probably that they're very sensitive and maybe giving us a false sense of worry to some degree when you have someone who's completely asymptomatic, of what that actually means. And you can see even trace elements of the virus showing up for weeks afterwards if you were to retest and retest and retest. So I still think it's largely accepted that symptomatic people with positive tests right around the window of time, a few days before to 6 to 10 days after their onset of symptoms, are probably most highly contagious. The asymptomatic individuals who happen to test positive, where they get that deer in headlights look that they've just got a positive test and have no symptoms to guide what's going on. They're probably less likely to transmit the virus, and just need to be cautious, obviously, and still probably self-isolate and watch for potential onset of symptoms. But it seems as if the more symptoms, the more viral load you have, the more transmissible you are.
Dr. Hardeman, a question that I had sent to me on our Facebook page here is about kids and Halloween. And I know we've discussed this one other time, but lots of people questioning, do I go buy a Halloween costume for my kiddo this year? Is it possible that we can do trick-or-treating in a COVID world? Do you have any thoughts on what we know about the transmission that involves children and the risk that it would pose if we did go ahead and do trick-or-treating?
Yeah, I think that probably the safest way to answer that is it possible that kids could either pass it to someone or pick it up from someone? Of course, the answer would be yes to that. But in reality, like we've talked about, it has to do to some degree with the level of exposure. So brief encounters with people, at someone's door, if there's still some distance between the two, if kids are grabbing the candy themselves versus having people hand it back and forth, there would be potential contamination, using some common practices of hand washing or hand sanitizer while you're doing that. I think it can be done safely. I think you think about those encounters, you're not standing there for long periods of time conversing with someone within 6 feet. You're usually standing outside the door. So I think there's certainly a way to do that. And you wear a mask. That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a comment from our Periscope page. If we've already contracted COVID, should we still get the vaccine?
An excellent question. I think I don't know that I have a perfect answer to that either. I don't know that there is much data out there on it yet. The vaccine trials that are going on, I believe, are all taking candidates for that have not had this before, so that they can really follow their immunity. And I think it tends to potentially say what happens with our own innate immune system, depending on how far out your antibody levels stay up. So I guess I would put a big question mark there, sort of to be determined. Some vaccines, the immunity wears off, like influenza, for instance, where they have to be boosted yearly and sort of based upon mutations. But I don't really have a perfect answer to that one.
Okay. Doctor, a question here. Can you go over what we know about the comorbidities, the high risk factors? We've talked about this over the developing months where we have learned more, but at this point in time, in the middle of September, who are most at risk and who are the least at risk?
So generally speaking, on an age range over 55 to 60 years of age, have worse outcomes and a higher mortality rate, and it goes up substantially every 10 years or so. The vast majority of deaths that have taken place have been in the 65 and over population. As far as comorbidities, generally it's obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and underlying pulmonary disease or respiratory disease tends to be the big one. And obesity is a huge component of it. For one reason or another, it seems as if people who have one or multiple comorbid issues tend to end up with a much greater inflammatory response and lung response requiring ventilation and more support and other end organ damage associated with the virus.
Do you feel like the obesity factor was not talked about early on for any particular reason, or is it something that we just learned over time?
I think we've learned it over time. Those comorbid issues tend to predict poorer outcomes in most health issues, right? They're just generally speaking, they're folks that have lots of other health-related issues tend to have harder recovery times from surgery, more difficult time managing those underlying health issues when you start to stack multiple issues on top of one another. I think the initial phase of this, when it just went like wildfire in New York, it was sort of a staggering hit to say, well, we have to figure out where this is. And then we started to realize that it really was largely an older population, and most of these folks that died of this had comorbid issues associated with it. So that's been pretty well known since probably May or June.
Okay.
Dr. Scott Hardeman on the phone with us, a physician at Gateway ENT and urgent specialist. You addressed Halloween. I know people are talking about this. JC on our Facebook page asks you for a prediction, if you have one, for the holiday season and for travel.
Well, the whole fall respiratory and winter respiratory season is going to be a fiasco, to say the least. I mean, you have every other respiratory pathogen that's going to be moving through the area, from strep throat to RSV to influenza A and B and every other common coronavirus that's out there. And we're already at a point where every time a 4-year-old gets a sniffle, they're sent home and have to, get them tested to find out if they can come back to school again. So I can only imagine that as we, ramp up towards the holiday travel season, that that's going to be trickier and trickier to try and figure out who needs to step out of society for that 14-day quarantine period and who doesn't. As far as travel goes, the airline industry seems to be slowly making strides back. Most airlines are booking at a 2/3 capacity right now, and availability is there, but you're much more likely to contract the virus passing through the airport than you are from a plane ride itself. So I would think that barring something unusual like a dramatic increase in numbers of cases or a huge spike in deaths sort of globally across our country, that we'll still see a fair bit of holiday travel around the Christmas holidays.
Doctor, real quick before we let you go, have you been able to travel the country this year much? Have you been able to go in different places yourself?
I have, and without worry.
Yes, I've gone on. I've flown 3 times this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it is striking to me, especially, being in Illinois, we're much more shut down than Missouri is. It is striking to me how much life is happening elsewhere, and the circumstances where things are open. It's not like drastically worse, and in many cases, it's actually better.
Yeah, I agree. I think just some common sense when traveling: keep your hands clean when you touch things, wash them again, mask up when they're mandating that happens, and be careful like you would with any respiratory illnesses. And I think you can travel without much difficulty.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thank you so much, Dr. Hardeman. We always get so many people that are grateful that we have this segment on here because they love hearing your expertise, and we certainly do too as well. So thank you so much for the time again.
Thank you all very much. Have a great Monday.
You as well. If you haven't checked out urgentspecialist.com yet, I would highly encourage you to do that. They're a wonderful urgent care facility, and I think it's off Manchester, and I have visited it. It is so pristine. It's brand new, and they have specialists that are there to help you when you need your urgent care, so you don't get referred out from your urgent care to yet another place, to go to a place that you don't, maybe a specialist you never met before. And they're doing it kind of in an innovative way to help you keep your costs down. And I love it. They're very, very great. They're urgentspecialist.com is the website. We are glad to have Dr. Hardeman's expertise on here. Quick break. When we come back, Stephen Moore is going to join us. And I'm going to ask him, if we don't get a stimulus agreement here from Congress, are Americans going to be okay? Are we going to be able to come back with these jobs numbers? Stephen Moore will join us in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk, and in case you miss any of those shows, on his podcast on radio.com. That's radio.com, and search Safe Money 97.1. So call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
If you've been looking for the perfect flooring for your space, whether your space is residential, it's in your home, maybe you're finishing a basement up because you need just a little more space to spread out with your family. I think we're all kind of realizing that these days. Or if it's a commercial situation, maybe it's for a nonprofit or a charity that you work with, maybe it's your church. If you need a great piece of flooring and you need a great value to go along with it, you've got to check out Michael's Flooring Outlet. He's very confident in his ability to give you the customer service that you have come to expect from Michael's. They've been around for so very long now, and they do it by treating people the right way, giving them a wonderful, really quality product, and doing it at a price that you are going to love. So reach out to them. You can find out about their Mohawk Smart Strand, Forever Clean Aero, and Rev Wood Plus flooring. You can also look for some waterproof alternatives for your place of business, for your home, wherever you need your flooring to be updated, renovated, and improved. Michael's Flooring Outlet is the place to go. They're in St. Charles County and West County and Darien Prairie. Right now, you can go online to michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Here's the president of the Illinois Chamber of Commerce, Todd Meisch, talking about the proposed income tax hike amendment on the November state ballot.
Springfield politicians already raised income taxes twice in the last decade. This tax hike amendment would let them increase taxes by billions more whenever they want, and a blank check to spend the money however they want, with no limits and no accountability. It would trigger a huge tax increase on thousands of small business owners, and give Illinois the nation's second highest tax rate on large employers. The result would be more closed businesses, more lost jobs, and even more people leaving Illinois. The tax hike amendment is a bad idea at the worst possible time. Please stand with Illinois employers and vote no.
Learn more by visiting notaxhikeamendment.com. Paid for by the Coalition to Stop the Proposed Tax Hike Amendment.
It's Decision 2020, and Radio.com has you covered. Take Mark Cox, Annie Frey, Dave Glover, and any show on 97.1 wherever you may roam. Stream the station live at 971talk.com. KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group. 97.1 FM Talk, a Radio.com station. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hazy skies across the St. Louis area on this Monday afternoon with partly to mostly sunny skies, 82 for the high. Tonight, mostly clear skies, 58 for the overnight low, evening temperatures in the 70s. Tuesday, partly sunny, though still hazy, 82. Wednesday and Thursday, mainly partly sunny, but I'm going to keep the chance of a couple of spot thunderstorms. Some of the moisture from Sally may squeeze up over us, but most of it should miss. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
System that could dump up to 2 feet of rain in some areas, plus the storm surge. The outer bands already lashing the Florida panhandle. Wildfires and climate change, part of the focus today in the presidential race. President Trump visiting California for an in-person update on some of the deadly wildfire devastation in the western U.S. Joe Biden just holding an event outside his Delaware home. He's pledging action on climate change if elected and accusing the president of ignoring science. A deadly police shooting that sparked protests in Pennsylvania remains under investigation, and it's fueling more questions about whether dispatchers have the right resources to handle specific incidents.
Lancaster Mayor Deneen Sirachi called Sunday when the shooting happened
a heartbreaking day for our city.
A Lancaster officer shot and killed a knife-wielding man, Ricardo Munoz. The shooting prompted protests, which tactical officers cleared using tear gas. Mayor Sirachi says neighbors are concerned the deadly force was not necessary to handle what she called a mental health issue. She believes more questions should be posed.
Who should respond, under what circumstances, and what protocols should be followed?
The mayor says how those calls are assigned by 911 is also at issue. The officer involved is off the street as the DA investigates.
Fox's Gernal Scott. In California, a manhunt continues after the ambush shooting of 2 LA County Sheriff's deputies in a patrol car over the weekend. Both deputies remain hospitalized. America is listening to Fox News.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You know, it's true that most homeowners have something in and around or about their house that kind of frustrates them. Is that you? Is there a part of your home that it's just like, okay, there's that room and it probably collects stuff and it's like, why do you even go in there? Is it really, causing you to be able to live in that space in your house? Could it be renovated into something better? Well, Lakeside Renovation and Design has proven their remodeling process that helps transform your house into a home that you're going to absolutely love. You love where you live, you love your neighbors, you love your neighborhood, you love your location. Make this house the home that is your dream home with Lakeside Renovation and Design. If you've been looking to transform the master bed or the master bath, if you've been looking to flip that kitchen and start from scratch or just maybe improve one section of it, you can do that with Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're the kindest, best, most trustworthy people in the business. And you can also ask them about their 18 months interest-free financing options. Don't put it off any longer. Visit them online at lakesiderenovationanddesign.com.
Here's a great review of Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance from Terry. He says, we've had only the best experiences with Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. The service people are always friendly, courteous, reliable, completely knowledgeable, and very professional. As retired people, we have the peace of mind and confidence that our entire home is being well looked after, and we've discovered that if anything goes wrong, Upkeep is there, sometimes within hours. There you have it, folks. When you sign up with Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance, you're not just getting a home warranty. You're getting their team of technicians who come out to your home 4 times a year to make sure everything is running smoothly and to make things easier on you. And like Terry said, if there's an issue, they are going to fix it so quickly because they already have a handle on the situation. You've forged this relationship over time, and you can trust your home to Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Code DGS gets you $100 off at upkeepstl.com.
Take a moment and rate your lifestyle on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is a life that's nothing like the life you were promised after getting good grades, a college degree, and a good job in corporate America. 10 is the life of your dreams. If you answered anything less than a 10, tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7 on 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk is on the radio and online on your smart speaker, on your phone, and streaming anytime at 971talk.com. Find it all at radio.com. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
The guy, I'm going to do this. You know, he copied my whole plan. You see, he says, buy America. I said, where the hell have you been for the last half century?
Did you see the visuals from the Nevada rally? I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but Katie, did you see the amount of people who showed up for that?
Yes, I did, and it was wild. I mean, crazy.
I mean, seriously, right now, I believe Joe Biden is speaking in somebody's backyard in Delaware, and there's nobody in the shot So it's like there's a podium and there's Joe Biden and you can tell it's somebody's backyard and that's it.
Well, and there's people that are having almost pre-rally things that are going on right before Trump has another rally. So people are having their own rallies.
Yeah, tailgating the rally.
Tailgating and doing stuff like that. It's like a football game. It's seriously like going to a football game.
Well, you can't go to a football
Facebook,
game. So
on our Facebook Live right now, facebook.com/Andy Frey Show, or at our Andy Frey YouTube page. I pulled up Twitter right now, and it's just like some grass waving peacefully in the background on the other side of a split rail fence, and Joe Biden in Wilmington, Delaware. I mean, you can't look at this. Their constant effort to socially distance these events, I think, is an excuse to not have crowds there that would not maybe come. They put them in circles. They're like carpet squares for grown people, for voters. I mean, Ryan, when you see this, like, if you were on this team, wouldn't you be like, I don't know?
yeah, it just doesn't inspire confidence. I mean, if you had a candidate that inspired confidence, that might be different. And he was saying, look, I am doing the right thing. But Biden's just not that guy. He doesn't. The turnout is going to be the factor in this election, and these kind of things just don't bode well for him.
Yeah. Well, I want to get to our guest, Stephen Moore, senior economic contributor at FreedomWorks and a visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation. Stephen, last time we talked, you had said that there were some good jobs numbers that we were going to be hearing, and that we got them, and they were pretty good. And I got to ask you, this is your first time to be able to talk because we didn't get to talk to you on Labor Day. What direction is this economy headed right now under the Trump administration?
Pretty solid. In fact, I was just looking, Annie, at some of the predictions economists were making back in the spring about what condition the economy would be in, by early September, and where we actually are. And by the way, I totally underestimated how strong we could come back. So we've created 10.5 million jobs. Think about that. 4 months, 10.5 million jobs. Now, we lost 20 million, so we still got about half the jobs we have to get back. But those are pretty positive numbers. And the growth rate we're expecting, we got about 2 more weeks to go in the third quarter of the economy. Mm-hmm. We're expecting that the GDP for the third quarter could come in at between 25 and 33% growth, which is really off the charts. I mean, that's never happened probably in the history of the United States. So Now, again, we lost a lot of ground in the first 2 quarters of the year. So we're making up for lost ground. But the numbers are positive, and people are feeling much better about things. People are spending more. Our industrial production is up. People are going to stores more. So it's a very positive trend.
Yeah, I think it's important to comparatively speaking. As you know, I live here in Illinois, and Pritzker has shut down our region. Missouri, on the other hand, which is a stone's throw from where I am right now, they're much more open than we are here in Illinois. I've also traveled to Florida a couple times, and it's mind-blowing to me how much life they're living there that we are not being allowed to live here. And I'm curious.
So have you seen the numbers, Annie, about I just wrote a column on this on Florida. They're gaining 1,000 people every single day.
Wow.
1,000 people a day are moving to Florida, and they're moving from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Illinois. The blue states are just bleeding people, and that's before this big tax increase that Pritzker has put on the ballot. I was talking to a good friend of mine who lives in Missouri, and he's saying in Missouri we're just praying that Illinois passes that big tax increase, because then all the money will come to Missouri. I mean, Illinois is acting like they're on an economic kamikaze mission.
That's a really wonderful and terrible way to put it all at the same time. Do states like Illinois, these big blue states, the way they're handling the situation? I mean, the job numbers, the economic numbers look good. How much better would they look if we were actually allowed to, go full bore ahead and open up and start getting back to the way we need to be in order for this economy to be on fire?
So this is another great question, Annie, because, the left argument now, they're running out of arguments. So the economy's getting better. The virus, by the way, the numbers on the virus are spectacular. I mean, what's happened in the last 3 weeks, and the very steady decline in hospitalizations, caseloads, infections, and even the death rates are starting to fall. Other than on college campuses, you've seen a massive reduction in caseloads and hospitalizations. But the argument, if you notice, ever since this stupid Woodward thing came out, and I'm so mad at Donald Trump, by the way, and I cannot forgive Donald Trump, and I'm a big fan of his, for doing this idiotic interview with.
Quite an unforced error, for sure. Is he still there? Did we lose him? Oh, there he is. I think we got it back. Are you there, Steven?
I think he might have stepped into a dead zone. Oh.
Let's put him on hold and see if we can get
cool.
him. We'll put him on hold and see if we can get him back. To his point, we've talked a little bit about the Woodward book here, but that is an unforced error, and to give unfettered access. What was it, like 9 hours?
Yeah, I think it was over days too. I read why he did that, and they said it's because when George W. Bush was in office, Bob Woodward wrote a book about him anyway, and Bush did not do those interviews because he knew this was going to be bad, and it kind of backfired because he wasn't able to sort of get out ahead of it and say, this is what I want in your book. And that's why Trump agreed to do it, which I guess makes sense. But you just know that it's going to be spun against you regardless. And to give him actual quotes, I don't know that it was a good move.
Yeah. And it's not as if he gets his words out there that they're going to be used the way they were intended.
Exactly. Right.
This entire president, I mean, so much of what we air quotes know about Donald Trump are based on completely fabricated lies.
Yeah.
And the Atlantic article is definitely one of those things. And now you see, how does it make you feel when you see Joe Biden running ads using quotes on the proverbial things that were being reported in the Atlantic article? I think we've got Stephen back here. Sorry about that, Stephen. We just lost you there for a second. Wanted to make sure that we heard what you had to say. But you were speaking about the Woodward book and how frustrated you were with it. I wanted to give you the opportunity to finish that thought.
Well, thanks, Annie. And I was just starting to say, that I just don't understand how Donald Trump could, I'm a big fan of his, how he could do something that reckless and do an interview with Bob Woodward, who just destroys political careers. And it was a dumb thing. But my point about bringing that up was that now the left is saying, oh, look, Trump lied about the virus and we would have, 40,000 more people alive if we had death rates as low as Europe has and so on. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. The high death rates in America are in the blue states. It's the point you were just making, Annie. The highest death rates are in, are you ready for this? Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan. Gee, what do all those states have in common? They're blue states with the exception of Massachusetts, which has a very liberal Republican government. Mismanage their states and have death rates that are 3 or 4 or 5 times higher than other states. So the good news is, though, that the economy is getting better and the death rate is going down very rapidly from COVID. So that's a formula for victory for Trump. I really think that. And then, by the way, the third issue I think that's going to determine the outcome of this election is public safety, and people just don't feel safe in democratic cities and states.
Speaking with Stephen Moore, senior economic contributor at Freedom Works and visiting fellow at Heritage. Stephen, I wanted to ask you about this spending bill that's kind of working its way through the Senate right now. Don't know what's going to exactly happen, but it seems like there's a lot of cheerleading for something to happen. What's the economy going to look like, whether it does or doesn't?
Great question. By the way, that bill, I mean, that is a real scandal. I mean, Donald Trump has said he wants to do $1,000 payments to individuals. So if people would send out, $3,000 for a family of 4 immediately. I'm not even necessarily a big fan of that, but Trump wants to do it, and Pelosi wants to do it. The Democrats want to do it, and he wants to do this payroll tax cut, which would be a great thing for workers. We've talked about it, and he wants to provide $200 billion for states and hospitals and schools. And Pelosi says no to that. She has blocked it because she wants $800 billion more, $800 billion more for states and cities and corrupt governors and incompetent mayors. And Trump has wisely said no to that. But why wouldn't she just make a compromise and say, okay, here's what we agree on. Let's do these things that will help the economy. But I'm of the mind that I don't think that the Democrats want to fix the economy. They want the economy for the next 3 months to be as bad as possible so they can win an election. If that means millions of more people on unemployment lines, that's fine with Nancy Pelosi.
Stephen, one last question before we let you go. We have a doctor who.
By the way, do you think I'm being too cynical there?
No. No, I think that
it's all politics.
Yeah, it's never been more
all
stark
politics,
of a decision that we have here in November.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, I've been in politics for 35 years, and I understand. Look, we're near an election, but do you intentionally try to paralyze the economy? You know, to win votes?
Well, I don't know how you can get your own hair done under the, not following the rules that you've set aside for everyone and not look at that and say she's obviously playing politics.
And Pelosi, by the way, 9 years ago when Obama was in office, she said, cutting the payroll tax is the best thing we can do for American workers. We have her on tape saying that. It's the best thing we can do for working Americans is a payroll tax cut. Now Trump wants to do it. So this is terrible. It's going to ruin the Social Security system. I mean, it's just total rank hypocrisy.
The Southwest CEO suggested that business travel wouldn't be back up to normal standards and possibly 10 years. And it seems as though the travel industry is what has been hit the hardest by this. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, I know you travel. Do you have any thoughts on your own personal experience of being out there and traveling, or people who are concerned about holiday travel coming ahead? Do you have any advice?
I think the industry has been obviously decimated. You know, I have flown not that often. I've flown about 3 or 4 times in the last couple of months. I used to be on the road twice a week. And look, the airline industry, I don't think it's going to take 10 years, but I do think, Annie, I think it's going to take 2.5 years before we're back to some kind of normal travel patterns. And a lot of travel will never come back because people are realizing, hey, I can do a Zoom call, or I can do other things other than, spend $400 to go on a, trip to, Chicago or something for a business meeting. But look, the economy is coming back, and we're finding, look at the technology sector, how well that's doing. So as some of these industries are hurt, you're seeing a real pickup in other industries. And I'll just end by saying this. Trump has the plan to get the economy going again. More tax cuts, more deregulation, more pro-America trade deals. And Biden is basically the opposite. More taxes, more regulation, no more energy production. Somebody out there tell me how that's going to create jobs. I don't see how the numbers add up, Annie.
Yeah, and I think that the people in the Rust Belt are going to see that as well. Stephen Moore, always a pleasure to have you on here with us, a senior economic contributor at FreedomWorks and also visiting fellow at Heritage. Your insight is always very, very valuable to our audience. It's always
Thanks, Annie. Have a great week.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, the president has been speaking about a variety of things.
Yep, but more specifically about the wildfires.
The wildfires taking place in on the West Coast. We'll listen in and see what the president had to say there, and we'll listen into the crickets chirping at the Joe Biden assembly in somebody's backyard in Wilmington. We'll see if he had anything exciting to say. Maybe he doesn't even know what he's saying. It's hard to tell sometimes if he's just reading or if he's riffing. It's just very convoluted. We'll compare the two when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
It's always there for us, ready to welcome us home, to fill an empty stomach, to wash away the day, and help us say goodnight. At Spire, we deliver more than natural gas. We deliver fuel for good friends, for good moms, and for good snuggles. Plus rebates to help you save energy and money. We are Spire, and together, we are fuel for good.
This weather update brought to you by Woods Basement Systems. It's St. Louis, and the weather here is bad for basements, bad for crawl spaces and foundations. Storms make basements leak, crawl spaces flood, and foundation walls shift. Get Woods, the experts in all things basementy, and Woods can dry out crawl spaces too. Get a free estimate online at getwoods.com. That's getwoods.com, or call Woods toll free at 800-388-9326. That's 800-388-9326, online at getwoods.com.
Rudy Beck, Jay Lennox, Carolyn Diker, all at Beck and Lennox Estate Planning and Elder Law are constantly working to make sure that they are meeting with people just like you who have never done any estate planning. And that there's a lot of us out there who have never really ventured into this discussion about what's going to happen with your belongings, with your responsibilities after you're no longer here. Beck and Lennox are the folks that are waiting for your call, and they're excited to get it. That's why they are going to give you that first free consultation for Annie Frey Show listeners. Here's the number you need to call to get connected and get the process started. 636-946-7899. That's 636-946-7899. Give Beck and Lennox a call and ask them to get you set up and get you started. They'll guide you through the entire process. They've been doing so for decades and decades, since 1973. Join the Beck and Lennox Estate Planning and Elder Law family and be taken care of. Get that peace of mind. It's priceless. You can visit them online at beckelderlaw.com.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to Monica Starks, who needed to hire for a pivotal role at her company, GS Group.
As the owner of a construction company, finding the right people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology identifies the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Monica did, and that's how she found Lamont, her new project superintendent.
The job is so perfect for me. I had a career breakthrough. I would have never found this job if it wasn't for ZipRecruiter.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists. With ZipRecruiter, we get hiring results.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With all the uncertainty in the world today, our mental wellness is being tested like never before. I'm Listening is here to remind you that you are not alone. Each day, we highlight conversations with celebrities, athletes, and mental health professionals who share their experiences to help you manage feelings of anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. Join us Wednesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. for a 2-hour in-depth discussion as we take the mental health temperature of the nation. For more, visit imlistening.org. Remember, talk has the power to save lives.
Hey there, it's Billy with Inside Out Tax. I used to work for the IRS, and I help people every day get to the bottom of their tax problems. If you're being inundated through the mail, if you've had someone from the IRS show up at your home or place of work, then give me a call to set up a free 30-minute consultation at 636-495-5700. That's 636-495-5700. Or reach out to us through our website at insideouttax.com.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from The Name in St. Louis Weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service.
Feels like I'm standing in a timeless dream of light mist, of pale amber rose. Feels like I'm lost in a deep cloud of heavenly sand, touching, discovering you.
I feel like the last time we played this song, we played Trump over it, and we thought we could change the world.
We did.
And we did change the world, yeah.
We did?
Yeah,
Did we change it for the better? Or?
No, we changed it for the better. Imagine what would be going on in 2020 if we hadn't have done that.
Yeah. What happened?
The terror. The terror.
Yeah.
No.
I had multiple people comment to me over the weekend about our conversation about gender reveal parties last week and Ryan pioneering the race reveal party.
Yes. Yes.
And I actually made that a promo.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I think that's
Oh,
probably
wonderful.
it was. Yeah, it was pretty funny. We cut the cake open and it was white. Wow.
Whoa. That was a surprise.
Hey now.
Yeah. It's very strange. So the president was speaking. He's en route, right? He's traveling.
Yes,
so
correct.
Is he getting on it? Is he on it by a helicopter?
Yes. Yep. You're going to hear a little bit of that chopper in the background.
All right. Well, he's commenting on the wildfires. Let's see what he had to say.
Obviously, forest management in California is very important. And now it extends to Washington and extends also to Oregon. There has to be good, strong forest management, which I've been talking about for 3 years with the state. So hopefully they'll start doing that. In the meantime, we're helping them out in a very big way. We have the best people in the world doing this. We have all of our people from FEMA. We have law enforcement here. We have the Army Corps of Engineers. We have basically some other military and military operatives that do this. And I'm going to meet with the governor right now, Gavin Newsom. We've worked very well together. I've approved the emergency declaration, as you know. And I think we'll have a very good meeting. I think you're going to be able to go in, take a few pictures, a shot. We may or may not keep you there. As far as I'm concerned, I'd be okay with it. But maybe the state would rather not have that, and that's okay with me too. So we're going to go in right now. Then we're going, as you know, to Arizona. We're meeting with a very great group of people, Hispanic people, who have done really well, and they understand exactly what's happening. And we've had tremendous support, as you know, and you can see from probably everything, including polls. I don't give a lot of significance to polls, even though we've been getting very good polls. We just got a very good one from Rasmussen, as you probably saw. And we certainly got a very good one from within the Republican Party, 95 to 96%. So we're going to do our meeting now with the state officials, including the governor. And then I'll see you in a little while. And then ultimately, and we're also giving 7 medals to 7 great, really heroes, really, truly heroes. And I look forward to doing that. We'll be doing that. We're going to have a little bit of a press conference inside. Okay.
What would you like to see specifically done on the issue of forest management? And is it possible that it's also forest management and climate change? It's both things.
Well,
at the
I think
same time.
something's possible. I think a lot of things are possible. But with regard to the forests, when trees fall down after a short period of time, about 18 months, they become very dry. They become really like a matchstick. And they get up, there's no more water pouring through. And they become very, very, they just explode. They can explode. Also, leaves. When you have years of leaves, dried leaves on the ground, it just sets it up. It's really a fuel for a fire. So they have to do something about it. They also have to do cuts. I mean, people don't like to do cuts, but they have to do cuts in between. So if you do have a fire and it gets away, you'll have a 50-yard cut in between. So it won't be able to catch to the other side. They don't do that. If you go to other countries, you go to Austria, you go to Finland, you go to many different countries, and they don't have fire. I was talking to a head of a major country, and he said, we're a forest nation. We consider ourselves a forest nation. This was in Europe. I said, that's a beautiful term. He said, we have trees that are far more explosive. He meant explosive in terms of fire. But we have trees that are far more explosive than they have in California, and we don't have any problem, because we manage our forests. So we have to do that in California, too. So I'll go do this, and we'll see you in a little while. Thanks.
So the president is en route to California to, as he said, view the forest fires that are taking place and meet with Governor Newsom. They actually said some nice things about Newsom. So, and honestly, if you remember back the shock and awe of the Newsom and Cuomo when COVID first started hitting, and Trump was like, whatever you need, you ask for it, I'm there with it. I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you. There was like 14 seconds of unity, I think, that existed over this. And now, of course, I guess that's how you know things maybe are getting a little bit better. So now let's go across to Wilmington, Delaware. I like that better. I like that better than Delaware. Can we change it? Can we make that happen?
Wilmington, Delaware.
I can't say it like that, but I could just defer to you anytime I need to say the word, and you could say it just like you did.
Delaware.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's change it.
Is that
Hello,
how?
Pip,
Can you use that accent with my accent? Can you merge the two?
Hello, this is Annie Frey. Going to pull up a cooler.
I don't
Going
know
to
if
put
that's
some drinks in it and have a tailgate outside the Trump rally.
I don't know if this is more or less refined than before.
Tally-ho.
It's very,
Sounds
very
like an evil genius.
very frightening. Very like the thing of nightmares.
Well, that's your voice
honestly.
now. So,
Speaking of the thing of nightmares, let's go to Joe Biden in a Delaware bag.
Donald Trump's climate denial may not have caused these fires, and record floods and record hurricanes.
But we're gonna blame.
But
him
if he
for
gets
it.
a second term,
But it is his fault.
these hellish events will continue to become more common, more devastating, and more deadly. Meanwhile, Donald Trump warns that integration is threatening our suburbs. It's ridiculous. But you know what is actually threatening our suburbs? Wildfires are burning the suburbs in the West. Floods are wiping out suburban neighborhoods in the Midwest. Hurricanes are imperiling suburban life along our coast.
Somebody turned up his volume.
If we have 4 more years of Trump's climate denial, how many suburbs will be burned in wildfires? How many suburban neighborhoods will have been flooded out? How many suburbs will have been blown away in superstorms? If you give a climate arsonist 4 more years in the White House,
A climate
why would
arsonist?
anyone be surprised if we have more America ablaze? If you give a climate denier 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised when more of America is underwater? We need a president who respects science,
Remember when he
who
started by saying
understands
it wasn't Trump's
that
fault?
the damage from climate change is already here. Unless we take urgent action, it will soon be more catastrophic.
Somebody said before that speech, Joe, we're going to need suburban voters for this election. Okay, well, the hurricanes are hitting in the suburbs.
I was wondering how he's going to tie this all together. You know,
Still am. Still
Yeah.
wondering. Shot and
Wildfires in
chaser.
the suburbs, too.
Here's your chaser. Wendy on Twitter is tweeting that Kid Rock is apparently headlining the Michigan rally tonight.
There we go.
So you got Joe Biden in the Delaware backyard, and you got Kid Rock opening up the Trump rally in Michigan. That's got to be good for at least 14 votes, right? I mean, I'm gonna watch this tonight just to see Kid Rock. I've seen Trump. I've not seen Kid Rock open for Trump.
I'm Eddie Frey, and I'll be at the Trump rally tonight watching Ball with the Ball. Love that tune. Put it on the old Victrola.
Man, it's Monday. I don't even care.
Love it. I love it. I texted you this, Annie, but I saw.
Have I read it?
Oh, yeah. This was on Friday night.
Oh, okay.
I was making my way down the highway.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Highway 44. And as we were getting on, there was a Trump parade happening on the highway. And
On
it
44?
was on 44. And it was more of like a brigade.
I believe it's Farty Far.
Farty Far. And I was just
Trump
in
parade?
shock. David and I were in the fast lane, of course, because
Did
that's
you
the only
smile?
place.
Did it make you smile real big?
I looked at David and I said, I think I might like Trump more than I let on.
David said that?
I
Or you
said that. I said
oh,
that.
yeah.
And because it makes you think about how many rallies and how many boat rallies and just like brigades that you see happening on a highway, I guess now, are happening in the name of Trump. But I don't see anything like that happening for Biden or for
I was
Harris.
just going to say, what highway were you on when you saw the Biden parade?
I have yet to see any media about a parade like that. I haven't seen it with my own eyes or on Facebook. And so I looked at David and I'm like, this is really getting crazy. This election is really ramping up.
I'm somewhat impressed by you seeing a Trump parade on 44. I would have been really impressed if it was a boat parade on 44.
Yeah, it wasn't.
What does a parade look like on an interstate, though? I mean, is it
Lots
just a
of
bunch of cars
flags.
decorated?
Yeah, lots of flags, lots of American flags, lots of trucks revving their engine.
Here's a boat parade in Nevada, I guess, that took place around the rally here. This is from local
Hundreds
coverage.
of people showed up at Lake Mead to support President Donald Trump. This boat parade happened hours before his arrival to Nevada. Now, that event lasted for more than an hour Saturday afternoon. It was an opportunity for supporters to start the weekend of events related to President Trump's re-election campaign.
It was cool when we were coming down the hill. We could see all the boats all in their procession.
More than 1,500 people responded for this event.
So how many of these boat parades have been taking place across? I saw the one article that said like 7 boats sank in one boat parade. Like maybe their
Jeez.
boats weren't big enough for the wake that was being created. Like it's ridiculous.
My gosh.
I am amazed at to me it's a flicker of support, and it's not so much necessarily directly for Donald Trump, but it's for America. And I know this sounds like really schmaltzy, cheesy crap, but I feel like if you're for America, you're for Donald Trump. Is that overstated?
No.
I mean, like if you're celebrating and waving an American flag, that's like a Trump thing to do. If you're waving an American flag, it's hard to associate that with the Democrats today. And all you have to do is watch their rallies or their debates and stuff. They are not quick to include American images in what they want to present to the American people as, like, if you want to go with us, here's what you need to know. We got a lot to apologize for, and we've got a whole lot to fix. I don't know that you wave it, literally be a flag waving American patriot and gel that with the idea of this sucks and we need to fundamentally transform it.
I think if you're a progressive, you really don't like what America is. So I don't think there's a whole lot of patriotism. I don't think there's a whole lot of flag waving in liberal America because they want to change what that flag means, and what it stands for right now they don't like.
Yeah. Katie, do you think do you find your friends to be patriotic?
Yeah. The group of people I hang out with still very much loves America. Still really, celebrates 4th of July. It's not the group of people I hang out with are not like burn the flags or anything like that. But there are a lot of people out there that are ready to fundamentally change America. And I actually got into kind of a back and forth with a girl that was talking about all of the bad things about America and how we do need to change it drastically. And that kind of sparked this conversation on Facebook. So there are people out there that I know that really are like, yeah, no, America sucks. It stinks.
2 things. One, I wonder if that friend understands that you don't get to change it in other countries. I wonder if that friend understands that the things that suck here, because we're Americans, we can change it. And the we is the most important part. And that's how we have gotten to this point where we have been thrust into situations or had them thrust upon us that are very unsavory moments in our American history. And we changed it. That's what makes us freaking awesome. Wave your American flag, insert here. But the other question, or the other point that makes me think about is that you saying that, you have a more liberally minded group of friends and they still love America. I think it's definitely demographically based on age and experience, but I do believe that if one side of the aisle or the other goes too far in the hate America realm, they will lose support because of that. That doesn't mean it's going to automatically translate into a vote for the other side. I've said repeatedly that I think that the majority of this election, the independents, like the people who haven't made up their mind yet, I don't think it's who they're voting for. I think it's if they can stomach the vote. That they don't love Trump, but they know that do I need to vote against Joe Biden or against the Bernie Sanders AOC party, or I can't vote for Trump. I just can't do it. But Lord knows I'm not going to be responsible for casting a ballot for Joe Biden. And the same other way. There are so many people in this country who are motivated by a blind hatred for Donald Trump. They wake up in the morning hating Donald Trump, and it's the last thing they think about when they go to bed. I am so sorry for those people. What a sad, sorry existence, because there's so much greatness going on. I'm going to tell you a story when we come back to try to put things in perspective a little bit. It's a story my dad told me this weekend, and I think it's important that you know about it. So stick around. I'll tell you a story in just a minute.
Feels like I'm lost in a deep cloud of heavenly scent.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Discovering you.
Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with 0% financing for 72 months and Carrier Cool Cash rebates on qualifying equipment when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Celebrate your love in 2020 with the return of the best opportunity of all time at Diamonds Direct. 5 years, 0 interest financing on any purchase. Now, for a limited time, you can get that sparkling diamond ring or pair of earrings with nothing down and no interest for 5 whole years. You can even finance the sales tax. Diamonds Direct, helping you for 2020 with the easiest and best way to buy jewelry. From a $2,000 purchase to a $20,000 purchase, you can get 0 interest financing for 5 years on approved credit. See store for details or diamondsdirect.com.
Imagine 2 identical homes on the same street that sold in the same week for $400,000. One seller used a realtor who charged 7%. The other listed with Straight Realty for only 4%, saving $12,000. Hi, my name is Christina Straight with Straight Realty. Don't be fooled by high commissions. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. 314-441-all-4s.
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
ForensicIT.com is the website. When your computers aren't working right, when your programs freeze up and you have to reboot, or, you know, the person, the really smart person on the other side of the office goes, try unplugging it and plugging it back in. Did you power it down and power it back up again? Well, when your problems go past the reboot, you need to make sure that you have an IT solution that is there for you, that's going to keep you up and running all the time, to get rid of these nasty headaches that keep you from being as productive as you possibly can be. Also, God forbid, there is a virus situation in your future, or potentially a situation where your information gets compromised. That's a really, really nasty situation to find yourself in. Forensic IT can work to keep you up all the time. And when your system does go down, they're going to get to the root cause of that problem, and they're going to get you back up and running ASAP. They are very great people that you can rely on to give you good, honest work, and to make sure that your systems are running exactly as they should be. You can call them at 314-677-3950. That's 314-677-3950, or visit them online at forensicit.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Mortgage interest rates are in the 2s. Maybe your current rate is in the 3s and you think you're good enough. Well, I can tell you this now. It only takes 5 minutes to see how much money we can save you by dropping your rate into the 2s. And at the Home Loan Expert office, we're still closing loans in 30 days. Find out how much you can save today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis is looking to buy additional 5 houses in the next few weeks. We can pay cash and close in as little as 5 days. We buy houses in any condition, any location, and any situation throughout the St. Louis metro. Call today, 314-782-7000, or go to our website, www.chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. That's chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. Just go there, fill out your information, and we'll reach out to you. We buy houses and apartment buildings. Call us today to get an offer, 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. Or go online to www.chrisbuysHomesSTL.com. The process takes just 7 minutes to get a completely free, no-obligation cash offer for your property. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000. 314-782-7000. Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers. And you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200. And always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door. The most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
The Dave Glover Show.
You remember when I got a new phone number. Now, I don't want to say anything disparaging about the young lady whose number I got. I am getting booty calls all hours of the night.
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
I mean, seriously, the visuals of these, I'm retweeting this right now, of this Joe Biden presser are just unbelievable. Do they take these white circle hula hoop ring things with them when they travel so they can just throw them on the ground?
I sure hope so. That's a
Mhm.
lot of waste of white circles if they're making new ones every time.
If you like Donald Trump, he will not waste white circles the way Joe Biden does. And from what I've seen here, Joe Biden only uses white circles.
Oh, you breaking news.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I don't know.
think
I
we
wish I
know.
knew.
I think we know. I think we know what that is.
Yeah.
So I spent a little bit of time this weekend with my dad. I had to drive him somewhere and he's like, let me show you something. So, as this is generalization, as your older generations have to do, they're like, pull in this cemetery over here. I got to show you something. So we go driving through a cemetery that has some family members, distant relatives. My mom's super into ancestry and everything, and I love hearing her stories. Found out that my grandmother, who is from Australia, met my grandpa in Australia during World War II, that she actually was maybe like a quarter Chinese or something.
Oh.
So I have actually Chinese heritage. Who knew? I look much more Australian, I think, than I do Chinese, but I love hearing the history and everything about how we came to be in America and the different heritage that has come together to, produce me and my family and then onward. So we were driving slowly through the cemetery. He says, I want you to look at this stone right here. And it was somebody who had known my grandpa, his father, very well growing up. And I looked at it, I go, 1946. I said, did he die in the war? And he goes, no. And he said, that's what I wanted to tell you. So this man was 30, maybe 31 or 32 years old when he died. And he was born in the 1900s, I think like 07 or something like that. And he died in 1946. He fought in the war and he fought through the duration of the war. And he came back, and a year after coming home, he had a heart attack and died.
Oh.
And it's just amazing to me that when I drive through this cemetery that's full of people who have full stories that are as big and as compelling as your story or as my story, these are all people who have lived a life. And you think about it when you're in the trenches, literally in World War II, and you're probably praying every waking moment, bring me back to my family, bring me back to home, help me here and help bring me back safely, that you could be brought home safely and in a year come home and just, I have a heart attack. And I just think to myself, like, what perspective that gives me specifically when I get really wrapped up in what's happening like right now in this moment. I've never fought in a world war. God willing, I never have to experience a world war. But time is so precious. The time that we have together with the people who are important to us is so precious that in the context of what we do here on this show every day, and what I know that you're doing in your mind everywhere you go, no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, how many people in your life are you not talking to right now or not spending real quality time with right now? Forget the pandemic, because we are 50 days from an election. And if you were to lose relationships with people in your life who matter and have a heart attack and die in December, you will never get to see Donald Trump's next 4 years, or you will never get to see Joe Biden get inaugurated. Like, what is of value? Is this election coming up valuable? You're darn right it is. And I am dedicated to talking about it and informing people and making sure that we have all the information and that everybody has a voice in this discussion. But is it the most important thing in our lives right now? I hope it's not. I hope it's not for you. I hope that you can look at people in your life right now who are just absolutely opposed to every policy that you think is right. They think the opposite is true. And I hope if it's an important person in your life and you have lost that relationship with them or it's been diminished, I want to like collectively, bipartisanly put our hands in the middle. This is just like the most naive thing that I could possibly say, but why the heck, why not say it? Because if you could go fight in a world war and risk your life for something that was a cause that was greater to you than the possibility of you taking a bullet on a battlefield, and you could make it home and die in a year of being home from natural causes, time is the most precious thing that we have. And if you have time right now with somebody in your life who that relationship has been waning, just understand priorities. That doesn't mean that any of this stuff isn't important. It just means that there are things that are the most important. And I hope that we are checking ourselves every once in a while and aligning our priorities. And sometimes they need to be shuffled. Sometimes they get shuffled for you. And that's when it's really difficult. When all of a sudden you are smacked in the face because you weren't paying enough attention to your priorities. I've had it happen to me in a drastic way about 3.5 years ago. The thing that was the most important to me in my life got taken away from me, and I was wrong to have it prioritized that way. So when I went past that tombstone, it just was really striking to me. And my dad wanted to tell me that story. I'm really glad he did.
Yeah, I know for me as a Christian, the greatest gift I think I've ever been given is thinking about life, not in terms of life and of birth and death, but thinking about eternity. It just takes so much pressure off of the here and now, because like you said, time is so limited that if you feel like you got to get everything in as fast as you can, for me, man, it takes off the pressure. It's like, oh, well, in terms of eternity, I've got plenty of time.
Man, but that mindset takes a while. That
It does.
I mean, especially I know for people that are 27, 28, that is not where they are at all. I mean, every single conversation, it might start one way, but it ends in another. And that other way it ends in is politics. Something always gets brought up one way or another, because right now, since there's nothing else going on, that is the most important thing. That is the hot topic every single day for people that are in my age. And I think too, social media makes it seem like every single thought that pops into your head, every single opinion that you have is worthwhile and everybody needs to know about it. And so that really influences the conversation of, and everybody wants to be an activist on top of it. Everyone wants to be doing the right thing, being an activist for the right party. So that it influences so many of the conversations that I know I have every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you're driving through a cemetery and there are graves surrounding you, I mean, all of those people were real people who had their own lives, who had their own stories, who had things they accomplished and things they never got to accomplish because time stopped for them. And that'll be you someday. And that will be your loved one someday. And when you drive past it and someone goes, oh my gosh, look, that person died in 1946. I bet they died during the war. Nope. They came home from the war. They had a heart attack and died a year later. It's just, it was very striking to me. And, you know, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you haven't listened, you can go back and listen to it on the podcast. It's not what we're fighting for right now. It's how we're fighting that's breaking our country in half. And if we can be part of that solution, I think we should try to. Producer Chad is going to join us when we come back. Excited to have this conversation with him each week. You can participate as well, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Back in a minute.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Window World. Congratulations to the guys. They have the highest rating possible with the Better Business Bureau. Only one of 2 window replacement companies in the country that have the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They have the lowest prices. They have the best possible terms. They have replacement windows that are just built like tanks. One of their little deals that they do, of course, they always bring it out to your home or place of business so you can see and feel the window. They encourage you to stand on them just to prove how great and durable that they are. They have the best guarantee and warranty in the business. If anything goes wrong, they replace it, no questions asked. Call them at 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
Mark Cox here for my friends at Pretzel Stop. You've heard me talking about Pretzel Stop for a while now. They're right there on Jungerman Road, just off Highway 94 next to Kohl's and across from Walmart. And Tony and his team are doing a great job. They've got an enormous variety of brats and sausages stuffed into a pretzel bun. But Pretzel Stop's about a lot more than that. They've got gourmet sandwiches, the chicken salad pretzel sandwich. They've got gourmet burgers on a pretzel bun, barbecue on that warm pretzel bun, and even pretzel pizza. And they've got pretzel bites that are out of this world. Do yourself a favor and stop by there. They've got desserts like fruit smoothies and sinful sundaes, and they've got you covered. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, catering. They can even customize the shape of pretzels for parties. So for more information, check them out online. You can find them at pretzelstop.com or at 1650 Jungerman Road in St. Peters.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
Counterpunching with climate change. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. As the president heads west, his challenger heads outside. To highlight the issue, Fox's John Decker is live in Washington.
Former Vice President Joe Biden in Wilmington, Delaware, talking about the importance of climate change as a public policy issue for all Americans.
Hurricanes don't swerve to avoid red states or blue states. Wildfires don't skip towns that voted a certain way. The impacts of climate change don't pick and choose. That's because it's not a partisan phenomenon.
Biden condemned what he called President Trump's climate denial while calling him a climate arsonist moments before the president arrived in wildfire-ravaged California. Lisa?
Well, John, the president argues that better forest management is needed in some states, but he also didn't rule out climate change playing a role in the fires. Taking questions from reporters, he said climate change is a longer-term issue. He's getting a first-hand briefing in California and meeting with Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom. Dozens of fires have been burning in western states. In California, Washington, and Oregon alone, thousands of homes have been lost, at least 35 people killed. The Gulf Coast is bracing for another hurricane.
We're working as hard and as fast as possible, given the timeline relative to Sally.
New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell urging residents to heed any warnings, though Mississippi could get the worst of Sally, including up to 2 feet of rain in some areas. Forecasters aren't sure where landfall would be yet, but it's expected by early tomorrow. Sally was just named Friday night, and 4 other tropical systems are still out in the Atlantic. An hour to the close on Wall Street, the Dow's been up over 300 points. The NASDAQ is up over 100. America is listening to Fox News.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-ASK-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings required thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hazy skies across the St. Louis area on this Monday afternoon with partly to mostly sunny skies. 82 for the high. Tonight,
Mostly clear skies. 58 for the overnight low. Evening temperatures in the 70s. Tuesday, partly sunny, though still hazy. 82. Wednesday and Thursday, mainly partly sunny, but I'm going to keep the chance of a couple of spot thunderstorms. Some of the moisture from Sally may squeeze up over us, but most of it should miss. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a right fit for you. And check out the podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's digital editor, Megan Crane.
Here's the president of the Illinois Chamber of Commerce, Todd Meisch, talking about the proposed income tax hike amendment on the November state ballot.
Springfield politicians already raised income taxes twice in the last decade. This tax hike amendment would let them increase taxes by billions more whenever they want, and a blank check to spend the money however they want, with no limits and no accountability. It would trigger a huge tax increase on thousands of small business owners and give Illinois the nation's second highest tax rate on large employers. The result would be more closed businesses, more lost jobs, and even more people leaving Illinois. The tax hike amendment is a bad idea at the worst possible time. Please stand with Illinois employers and vote no.
Learn more by visiting notaxhikeamendment.com. Paid for by the Coalition to Stop the Proposed Tax Hike Amendment.
There's still time to get into the Labor Day sales event at Cassens Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and boy, do I highly recommend that you do it. My husband this weekend, we were driving around town, and I don't know, so we picked up my parents or something, I don't know, but we accommodated some extra people in our vehicle. And when we dropped them off, we said, you know what? I have never once in this Chrysler Pacifica been like, gosh, it really sucks to have to drive a minivan. This Chrysler Pacifica is the perfect vehicle for us, and I can see it working for so many other people. And you can go to Cassens right now to get an amazing deal on a Pacifica of your own. Or if you're looking for a Dodge, a Jeep, a Ram, whatever Chrysler vehicle you're looking for, Cassens can set you up with what you need, and they will be very good at working with your budget and giving you honest information to make sure that you get in the vehicle that you want. You can trust these folks. I trust them. I've purchased multiple vehicles from them, and I'd love to encourage you to give them a shot as well. You can visit them online right now at cassenscan.com.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. With all the bad news out there, it's easy to miss the good news. Mortgage rates are at historic lows, making now a great time to buy or refinance a home. My customers are locking in the best rates in a generation. Now is the time to use the equity in your home to cash out for a remodel, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or rid yourself of the dreaded PMI. During these volatile times, you need an experienced local loan officer working for you. Call me, Michael Mohan, at 314-336-6050. I'm here in St. Louis, and when you call, you talk to me. Whether you are purchasing or refinancing, I want to help you save money on your home loan. Michael Mohan at Community Mortgage, 314-336-6050. Online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, NMLS 250353224143.
Critical thinking for critical times. The free exchange of ideas. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Download the radio.com app and stream the station wherever you go. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
this is a man that lives in a $100 million mansion in Bel Air. And I always say, if you're suffering through racism, please give me some of that. He's got a white gardener, a white chef, all various white people that work for him, a white driver. So if that's racism, LeBron, please share some of that with the rest of us. But, on a more serious note, I want to say something that will really uplift Americans, because sometimes I know when you see that stuff, it can seem so depressing over and over on the news. If I opened my inbox and showed you the amount of celebrities that have written me privately, that silent majority that we're always talking about, they've written to me and said, I'm finally starting to see the truth. I can't stand being in Hollywood. I'm not allowed to use my voice to say what I actually believe. These are the same celebrities that are actually posting the black squares on Instagram and saying we must care about Black lives. And they're saying they're doing it basically under duress.
Under duress. Isn't it? I don't like the Facebook, Instagram, whatever, Twitter profile cover that you put on top and you're like, I've done something now. Everybody can see that I'm one of the good ones now. Does that like really move the needle? Or I don't know if it's like something that makes you feel better inside, or if it's unifying, if it's good for other people to see. If you follow it up with action, I guess that's different. But there is a lot of posing out there, I think, right now on behalf of all Americans of every shape and size and color, because people are trying to be on the right side of history. But in many cases, if you listen to Candace Owens there, and I don't play a lot of Candace Owens sound on this show because I think that she is purposely bombastic because she's trying to rattle the cage to get the attention so she can get her message out. It's just not particularly my style per se. But, is it hard to look at LeBron James and see that he's talking about how hard it is to be him in America? Or is it important for him to speak up because he's the one who has a platform and can speak for the people who don't have the voice? Of course, the NFL took place this weekend. Tyler Eifert, who is a tight end for the Carolina, who's he with? I can't remember.
Wrong room.
Yeah, I know. Chad. He wore David Dorn's name on his helmet. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
They're wearing hats now.
That's dumber than saying Delaware earlier.
Mesh hat.
No, that's something, no offense, Katie would say.
Yeah, none taken. Absolutely. I know it's a helmet, though. I know at least it's a helmet.
Leave me alone. It's Monday. Good grief, people. I'm struggling. I'm trying to get through the day. And now in the NFL, this is how long it's been since I've watched an NFL game. They're wearing hats now. Stylish. Very, very bowler hats, just all different kinds of things. Chad's in with us right now.
Pants.
He's a producer with us at 97.1, and he's got a very interesting perspective. He's a millennial. He's an incredibly hardworking person who is making a whole bunch of stuff happen behind the scenes at 97.1. And I don't know if, Chad, if you're a man without a party or a man without a candidate, or if you're just frustrated like the majority, I think, of people who are watching 2020 just slowly and quickly at the same time pass us by. But,
just absolutely frustrated at this point.
Just politically frustrated. There should be a status.
Yeah.
I mean, that should be the status you can put up on your political views. Right. Politically frustrated. I mean, I know we talked a little bit off the air about the NFL. And you said that it's like one of the only things you got left right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do NFL fantasy, and quite honestly, that's really the thing that keeps me like engulfed in NFL. It's not about the Black Lives Matter stances and things of that nature. It's not about the anthem to me, because quite honestly, every time I'm looking at the NFL, I'm looking at stats. I'm trying to see if I won out the week with my friends and family. That's what I'm doing.
You don't go to the NFL to get your dose of social justice one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't, because I also realize like every NFL team is getting paid to do the national anthem for advertising dollars. So therefore, I can't be too invested into something that I'm not making money off of. I understand the importance of the national anthem, but I also understand that they're being paid to play it. So
I saw somebody tweeted yesterday or this weekend, and it was talking about like how much money there actually was in injecting patriotism into the NFL. I mean, like, there's Department of Defense dollars. There's federal budget that was that, they would have spectacles saluting the military and everything, and that wasn't just like a thing that any part of the industry thought, it'd be a really nice thing for us to do. It's the NFL. It's all about money. And if you're from St. Louis, you should know that as good as anybody else does. But yeah, if you're going to watch a football game because you want your daily dose of patriotism, and if you want to go watch an NFL game because you need your daily dose of social justice, it's like not. It's.
I mean, quite honestly, to me, the NFL is literally the only. Well, I'll say sports in general are literally the only places where you can literally see all kinds of races, creeds, colors, and all that good stuff, religions and everything come together and put that stuff to the side and actually do something. Like we can't do that in politics, and we definitely don't
But
do
is
that.
it being put to the side is the
I
question.
mean, probably not, but while they're playing, it's put to the side for a moment. So we're taking a brief pause to not be so serious and also get back into the enjoyment and the freedoms of being in the United States of America.
Yeah. I have probably what is an unpopular opinion on this. And the first and foremost thing that I want to make sure I am crystal clear on, and I say this every single time, is that I hate the NFL because of what they did to St. Louis. So like my deep-seated anger and frustration for the NFL is because they screwed St. Louis over knowingly and in the dark. And then Stan Kroenke is just maybe one of the worst people on the planet. So it's not like baseball to me is I'm passionate about baseball. I'm a huge Cardinals fan, have always been a huge Cardinals fan, have paid attention to baseball for a long time. I was an athlete, a softball player myself, and I've just always enjoyed baseball. Been to spring training 4 times for spring break in college. It's harder for me to just say, well, I'm just not going to watch the Cardinals anymore. I'm not doing that. I'm still watching the Cardinals, but I'm also not investing my time in the goings on that exist beforehand, because one way or the other, I don't want to see it. I just want to see a baseball game. Kind of, Chad, like what you're saying. You're like,
yeah,
but how did my fantasy team do? It's like,
exactly.
This is why I'm here right now.
It's week 1 of fantasy, and I took a W, almost lost. So I'm pretty
Congrats on the W, Chad.
But that sounds to me like that was a win.
Yeah, it was. It was
W short
definitely
for
a
win.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. W.
Yeah.
That's a millennial thing, I guess.
No, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
and he's not a millennial.
here I am. Centennial.
But you know,
you can disqualify me. That's okay. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
No. Everything that's millennial, maybe it's a generation after us, and I just kind of picked it up because I'm always around those people.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Well,
I
here's
just appreciate the freedoms to having a fantasy team and kind of being a franchise owner.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think about the football game stuff. I know that the Chiefs, when they played the Texans last week, I thought the first tweet I read said that they all stood. I think it turned out that maybe like 1 or 2 people maybe kneeled during that game, but then they all came together at the center of the field for a moment of unity or whatever.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that if you have been pounding the table because there has been a movement that you felt has disrespected the flag, if they start standing for the national anthem and choose to take a moment of silence that is apart from the flag, I think that deserves to be acknowledged. That they have taken their movement and said, okay, I don't want what we're doing here to get conflated with some sort of disrespect for our military, for a flag, or for this country as a whole, and separating it. I think that that's a good step. If you still don't like it, you certainly still have the choice not to watch that part of the game or any of the game. But I, and the other thing too is I think we see, I really put the majority of the responsibility of this taking place in sports on the managers, on the owners, because if the owners step in and say that you can't do this, then they've set the bar. But if the owners are permitting them to do that, I think there's probably a lot of pressure. Going back to what Candace said, a lot of pressure on celebrities to do something. And depending on what they do, we've seen people in our own hometown who have said, I'm standing with my teammates because this is important to them, which is not the same as saying, as being the leader of that sports team and saying that this is what we need to do. And there are other times, where I'm sure that there are prayers that are being led, and there are people who are being respectful and participating in those prayers, possibly in a clubhouse or maybe in a certain circumstance on the field. And, I just think we have to ask ourselves, going back to what I said in the beginning of the show, it's how we are fighting with one another. It's not what we're fighting for. Chad, when you see this weekend, do you know about those two LA officers that were shot at Point Blank Range?
Yes.
And then the protests went to the emergency room and tried to block the entrance so these people couldn't get in there. I mean, I don't know who can see that and go, well, I'm with them.
Yeah, that's there have been a lot of extreme things that has been mind-blowing to me. And quite honestly, I just can't get with it. Like, we're trying to stop the violence, and like 2 LA officers being shot is not the route. Like,
No,
it's not the route at all. And it's kind of disheartening to like, okay, we're saying that we want the police to stop shooting impoverished people, black people, and all these other people that have been struck in by the police unlawfully or lawfully, however you want to put it. So to go back and do the same thing, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like we practice turn the other cheek. We say we practice turn the other cheek, but we're not turning the other cheek for for what I see. We're on
spiraling.
Attack. Yeah,
we're
on
spiraling
attack.
down. Yeah. And I think, this happened, and rioting is still happening. Rioting is still happening. Businesses are still being looted. Cities are still being broken down. And it's like, okay, well, how do we come up from this? How do we fix this solution? Because to me, all of these organizations started out with what you just said. Like, we have to be activists of love. We need to make sure that equality is what our main goal is. And now this is where we are months and months later, where 2 LA police officers are shot in their car inexcusably. There's no excuse for this. And I just think we're heading down this tumultuous path, even though from the very get-go, it was already just horrible.
Yeah.
I really am curious, and we've discussed this a lot on the show, and we're going to continue to do it. It's that if there is a message out there, if the Black Lives Matter movement doesn't stand with this type of behavior, they have to be the first and the loudest people saying so, because your message is going to get lost completely if you're quiet in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't hear enough people right now shouting how much we are so far past an acceptable line of peaceful protest.
No, because you got to think, like, if we're not creating that division through media and through different outlets, then I'll say we, because we're in media as well, we have nothing to talk about. If we don't have these divisions, we don't have anything to keep this country thriving to certain ways of thinking war is okay and things of that nature, because it's always us versus them. So we have to create this mentality, and that's kind of what I see happening. It's just us versus them mentality throughout the entire United States, no matter if it's politics, no matter if it's blue lives versus Black Lives Matter, no matter if it's all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter. Because like when I hear Black Lives Matter and I see the people that's saying Black Lives Matter, it's Black people that have been struck in a way that they feel like they shouldn't have to go through anymore, because they've been going through this for 400 plus years. And when someone takes offense to it, it's like, okay, you're watching Black people say Black Lives Matter. So of course, if you're watching the NFL, the NBA, or any other sport where it's majority minority, you're going to get that. That's all you're going to see, because they want to bring a light to it. And quite honestly, I think there needs to be a deeper conversation when we're saying Black Lives Matter, and not just saying Black Lives Matter to the police. Black lives need to matter to Black lives as well. And that's the point. Like, we are trying, like, I feel people are trying to push, but it gets overshadowed by all the naysayers that say, well, all lives matter. And the best tweet I've seen so far in the regards of Black Lives Matter and all lives matter, like we don't already know that, is, okay, the Twin Towers. Okay, we talk about how the Twin Towers fell, and the Twin Towers fell on 9/11, but there were multiple buildings that were destroyed. There were literally blocks and blocks and blocks where the destruction happened, and we don't talk about those buildings. So it was like the World Trade Center matters, and then it says all buildings matter, and then now you see how that doesn't make sense, but in all reality it does, and we all already recognize that.
Chad, those are some interesting points, and I want to continue to talk about that when we come back and discuss it a bit more. If you would like to join us on our Facebook Live, we're at facebook.com/Andy Frey Show. You can also watch us on YouTube, the Andy Frey YouTube channel. Go subscribe there. You can put us up on your YouTube app, on your smart TV. You can watch us on your phone as well. And we're streaming at radio.com. More with producer Chad when we come back on these sensitive subjects that we are going to talk about here. Don't go anywhere. Back in a second.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Sweet pea, keep of my soul.
Decision 2020 is here at 971talk.com/election. Brought to you by Grasser Electric. Don't be left in the dark. Make the right call. Grasser Electric on 97.1 FM Talk.
There's a big red barn where you say green. Norm's Bargain Barn. On discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Country Wood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Hey, it's Annie here, and I'm inviting you to join Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of my show, for the last Protecting Your Retirement educational event of the year. It's Tuesday, October 6th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30 p.m. Call 855-755-1555 or go online to retirementkey.com to reserve your seat. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you concerned you won't have enough income in retirement to live comfortably? Or do you wonder how long your money will last? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older or recently furloughed, you can now roll over your 401k tax-free and protect your nest egg from any market losses? If you're nearing retirement or already retired, you don't want to miss this last event. We're taking all precautions and following the CDC guidelines to keep everyone safe and healthy. We also have the biggest room available to keep our social distancing. See you Tuesday, October 6th at 6:30 p.m.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official St. Louis financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, at the Frontenac Hilton on Tuesday, October 6th at 6:30 p.m.
It's that time of year again, where an afternoon thunderstorm can pop out of nowhere, bringing damaging winds and power outages. At Spire, we know life doesn't stop just because the power did. Thankfully, you can depend on natural gas water heaters and stoves no matter how long the power is out. And right now, choose a natural gas water heater and get up to a $300 rebate at spireenergy.com/rebates. Now that's fuel for good.
What's holding you back from solving your tax problems? If it's cost, know that the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Tax resolution doesn't have to be expensive, and waiting year after year to resolve your tax problems can be extremely costly. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. So take the first step now and hire a tax resolution attorney to help you. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. But the longer you wait, the more interest and penalties you'll pay. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You may wonder, what does a home warranty even get me? Is that something that's worth my time? And that's a great question, because for a long time, I wasn't sure what a home warranty was either. But then I got together with my friends at Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance, and I have learned that through Upkeep, your appliances are all covered.
Your plumbing and electrical systems are covered, your heating, your AC. So these are huge issues when it comes to your home. Inevitably, you're going to run into a problem at some point, and that's going to be really expensive to fix unless you are covered under that home warranty. And the best part about Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance is they are never going to deny your claim due to lack of maintenance, because their technicians are out at your home 4 times a year, maintaining your equipment and making sure that you are good to go. Upkeep is offering $100 off to DGS listeners. Just use code DGS. Check out their website, upkeepstl.com.
The Annie Frey Show.
I think there is a silent majority. I know for a fact that I'm one of them.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
Come this November, it's not going to be a wave, it's going to be a tsunami.
The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
In a little cafe just the other side of the border, he was sitting there giving me looks that make my mouth water. So I started walking her way. She belonged to Batman Jose, and I knew, yes I knew I should leave when I heard her say, hey, come a little bit closer.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for joining us today. Each Monday at the 2 o'clock hour, we invite producer Chad to come on the show with us and just join in a conversation. It might sound a little bit different than what you hear from, other people who are trying to talk in this political climate. I don't want to tell you what to think. I want to learn how other people think. And that's why we have Chad in here. So we were talking a little bit about Black Lives Matter, and you were saying that, it makes sense for you, especially I'm sure as a Black individual, to see Black people saying that Black Lives Matter. But you also made the statement, Chad, that Black lives need to also matter to Black people, and in that it needs to be it's more than just the hashtag on the Twitter account. And I wanted to ask you this specific question, Chad, because especially right after, in the wake of George Floyd's death, I would have people challenge me and say, you need to say Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, of course Black Lives Matter. Like, of course they do. Like, this is a sentence that I will say every day of my life because Black lives absolutely do matter. There's a difference, and this is very politically purposeful. There is a difference in the sentence Black Lives Matter and probably the hashtag Black Lives Matter that implies a political agenda.
Yeah.
So it becomes very cumbersome for somebody who, first of all, likely isn't Black to wade into this conversation and have a platform to stand on and speak, when, of course, there needs to be a lot of listening involved. We've talked a lot about that today, that we should all be doing more listening to one another. But do you see a difference at all for you, in your personal experience? Is there a difference in the sentence that Black Lives Matter and the political agenda of Black Lives Matter?
So when I see certain people like post Black Lives Matter and things of that nature, I realize that they're just doing a checkbox. Like, okay, I checked the box off. My fans are going to love me. People are going to get out my hair about saying things like that. But it's also about, like I was saying, it's about accountability. Like, I don't allow someone in my family to just do things that or don't make sense or negative to the output of Black people, to just do it and just they're okay with it. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to speak to my cousins. I'm going to speak to my brothers. I'm going to speak to my sisters. I'm going to speak to anyone that I see that are not a better reflection of what we're trying to do as a black people. Because we are looked at a certain way because of our actions. If we don't want to be held responsible for those actions, then we probably should do something different. Now, when it comes to the political base, I realize that the Democratic Party has done what it's always going to do. It's trying to win the minority vote. So if I got to put up a black box on my profile to do so, that's what they're going to do. I'm not putting a black box up because I don't have to tell you Black Lives Matter to me, because I live it. Like, if you're living in something, I honestly live that all lives matter, honestly, because I don't only just have black friends. And it's like if I only seclude myself to black people, I would limit my growth and I would limit my knowledge, because there are so many topics that I can't talk to black people about. Like, I can't really talk to black people about politics because they're ignorant to politics. They only do what their grandfathers and grandmothers told them they should be voting for. They don't do their own research on who they should be voting for. So when I tell people like, oh no, I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, that would have been acidine to my beliefs and what I stand for politically. They like, what do you mean? I said, well, have you ever looked up the definition of the Democratic Party or seen what these political people actually stand for? Like, not what they're telling me they stand for now because they're running for president and they need the popular vote or they want electoral votes. And even speaking of electoral votes, there are people that don't even realize that the popular vote does not matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're popular. It matters the electoral college picks the president.
So, Chad, let me ask you this specifically, because you kind of implied that there is a bit of a monolith with black voters right now, but I see a lot of that changing, and I hear it in your voice. I have had many conversations with people who don't look at the Democrat Party right now as the checkbox that it has been in the past. And these are people who are black or people who are of other minorities or women for that matter. Now, I'm leaving the entire Trump part of this equation out of the mix, because there's the Republican Party and then there's Donald Trump, and you can be for one and not the other, and vice versa, or for both or for neither, of course. But how do people like us here on the show, how do we get more of an expansive conversation going where people can have what they've always thought and always known challenged? Because I see that on both sides of the aisle too, of course. There are some very, very deep rooted conservative beliefs that even if you were to open yourself up to other people's perspective, that doesn't mean it's going to infiltrate your mind and you're going to stop being able to believe what you want to believe. Like, I feel like the broader the conversation, the more affirmative you can be in whatever you were believing beforehand or however it shifts. Like, how do we break through any monolith that exists out there, women, men, any demographic that exists? How do we broaden that conversation?
Honestly, knowledge, research. That's probably the only answer I really have. I definitely agree with eliminating race and gender and race entirely when it comes to speaking about politics and things of that nature, because like I said, we continue to find these things to divide ourselves and not really come together in what actually matters.
So, Chad, you tweeted something out that I thought it gave me a giggle. It was September 7th. I love your Twitter at Chad Ellis 971. Follow him. You said, I find it funny how political candidates will pimp you out for your vote. And I just wanted to see like where your head was at whenever you made that tweet. What was it about? What was kind of the inspiration for you making, because I think that that's really true. And I don't think that that's only solely for the Black community or for women. I think that's true for a lot of different people.
And that's why I kind of just was like, you're just getting pimped out for your vote, just on the strength of, we can take it back to when Donald Trump won the first time, when Hillary Clinton was literally on campaign doing concerts. And she didn't just do concerts for Black people. She did like rural concerts and things of that nature. But it was majority for the people that, can't really afford the private jets and the things of that nature. So she was trying to
middle class America,
reach middle class and lower class America, but she was doing it in the wrong way. She was trying to get the celebrities to win them over instead of like actually doing something to win these people over. And that's the same thing I see with Cardi B and Joe Biden. Like, Cardi B's mad that nobody respects her as a journalist because she's not a journalist. Until she goes and gets the bachelor's degree in communications Don't expect you're not going to get any type of kudos for having this for having these millions of followers, for having all of these black little girls twerking and doing the ungodly things, and you're not getting credit. You're not getting credit for what? Like, you're not getting credit for talking to a political candidate, and you stand for nothing that's positive in the black community. It's literally everything that you're doing, and you can cry and nobody will listen to my music if I'm positive and things of that nature. And that's lies. That's lies. There are literally millions and millions of people that would rather not hear it. So therefore,
so shut
million and one.
So I think that's just an interesting point about the celebrities too, because we've talked about that on this show frequently, that whenever it came to the DNC and the RNC, there was a stark difference between who they were having represent these different conventions. The DNC had a lot of celebrities. They had a lot of people playing music and talking about how important it was to vote.
Nobody backs the DNC. Let's be honest. Like, if you're not paying into this party, or you're not getting paid to be there, then you're not there. Like, that's just what it is.
How do you feel?
Honest.
Did you know that Kid Rock is opening for Donald Trump in Michigan tonight? I'm not mad about it. It's not I don't think Trump needs Kid Rock, but I'm okay with it.
I think, honestly, what I think, if you can't beat him, then join him. That's what he's doing. Like, come on.
My name is D. Trump.
That's what he's doing. Like, he's doing the work. He's going to California trying to spread relief for the wildfires and things of that nature. But he's also on a political campaign as well. So it's not just okay. I'm doing my job as a president. I'm doing a dang good job. I want to say something else, but I'm doing a dang good job as a president.
Please don't. I got this dumb button over here. Don't do it to me.
You don't need it. The economy is okay, but we're in a pandemic, so of course the stock market is gonna fluctuate a lot. I'm kind of mad at Apple for doing a split and the stocks plummet, but it's besides the point.
Chad, are you impressed with? Are you in the arc from the first time that you saw Donald Trump come on the scene as a candidate for president till right now? Has he gained in your favor or lost, or are you about the same?
Probably a little bit less. Like, at first it was just like, okay, this is going to be, honestly, let's be honest. I felt like it was going to be a breath of fresh air for having Donald Trump as a president, because he had no experience. So that, therefore, there was going to be learning curves, and there were going to be, okay.
Yes, there have been.
But I didn't expect the same Donald Trump, the tweets and things like that, to transfer over. But I don't know how I didn't expect it, because
that's him.
Yeah, like, he's being who he has always been, like paying for news articles when people do wrong things and saying they need to be punished and things of that nature. He does things to the extreme because he literally has no one to reel him back in. That says, look, Don, you probably don't want to do that because it's going to
chat.
Yeah,
hey, Don.
Yeah.
Don needs a chat.
Don needs a chat.
Donnie. Yeah. Well, Chad, it's always a pleasure to have you in here. We appreciate these conversations and changing it up a little bit. And your voice is always welcome here. Thanks so much for coming back. Good to have you.
Thanks for being here. Talk to you next Monday.
Yep. Talk to you next Monday. We're going to take a quick break. We'll wrap up the show when we return, and Dave Glover's going to take over from there. Trump's rally in Michigan. What's that about? We'll talk about it here in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
When I heard her say, hey, come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man. So big and so strong.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
I'm all alone, and the night is so long.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for free HVAC estimates, visit aircomfortservice.com.
If you're one of the many working from home these days or running your business remotely, you need a strong technology company that can handle any cloud, VoIP, Wi-Fi, or fiber needs. Look no further than Arcadia Valley Communications. They've got 50 years combined experience and prices that smoke the competition. Get your company connected by calling Ron Elkins at 314-924-3160 for a free technology assessment for your home or business. Find out what Arcadia can do for you. Visit them online at ArcadiaValleyCommunications.com.
Missouri lawmakers did well in 2018 by passing a series of labor reforms for government employees. Many of them, including teachers, now get to vote every 3 years on whether to keep the union they're in. And those employees now have so-called paycheck protection, giving them more say in whether a union can take money from their paychecks for union activities. But more needs to be done. The law excludes firefighters, police, and other first responders. And it still doesn't really allow for open collective bargaining for those it covers. The public should be able to attend meetings where governments are negotiating collective bargaining agreements so they can ensure their tax dollars are being spent wisely. Government union reform is off to a good start, but it's time to provide these rights to all our government employees, not just some of them. Check out our 2020 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the Bagel Loan that I used a year ago to refinance my home. And boy, am I glad that I did. If you are looking for cash out of your home, right now is a great opportunity to get into a bank buster loan, which has really, really ridiculously low rates, or the Bagel Loan, which makes it so that you don't have to pay any of those nasty fees that every other lender is going to charge you for. It is real. It is legit. He doesn't hide the fees. He doesn't charge the fees. I've experienced it. He explained the process to me the entire time he went through it, and it makes perfect sense. And I'm so glad that I did. And I can't wait for you to give Stewie a call as well, because this is money in your pocket every single month. Or if you want to keep your payment the way it is right now, or maybe even make it a little bit higher, you can shave years or even a decade or more off of the length of your loan. Think about how much money you are going to save that way. Don't put this off any longer. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. You can call them or you can text them. Mention Annie when you do. And MLS number 226715.
Enhance your home's curb appeal, security, and efficiency with a new garage door from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Use their digital app to see what new doors look like on your home before installation day. Installed by their own factory-trained technicians, never subcontractors. Always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200. Overhead Door, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Schedule your free in-home estimate at overheaddoorstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
Mark Cox here. If you need to drop a few pounds, call my friends at Slim 180. Get back in shape, feel great, keep the weight off. You can use their traditional program, the medically supervised HCG Rapid Weight Loss, or the new Quick Start LipoLean. I use the HCG Rapid Weight Loss program, and the weight dropped off in a hurry, sometimes 1.5 pounds a day. All the Slim 180 centers are following COVID-19 guidelines to keep you safe. They've got gloves and masks and plexiglass dividers. You work with their counselors and their doctors one-on-one, either in person or remotely. They can even mail you products or have curbside pickup. You can schedule your free consultation today. They also work with flex spending and health savings account cards. 6 locations: O'Fallon, St. Charles, Sunset Hills, Creve Coeur, Chesterfield, and Florissant. Visit them online today and set up your initial appointment at myslim180.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Some criminal walks up to the side of a police car that's just sitting there doing nothing and opens fire on the 2 innocent police officers sitting inside. You know what Joe Biden called for? Gun control.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
Dear, I fear we're facing a problem. You love me no longer. I know, and maybe there is nothing that I can do to make you do. Mama tells me I shouldn't bother.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for joining us today. So there's so much going on right now. I don't know if you guys wanted to, Ryan, you didn't talk very much that last segment. Is there anything you wanted to weigh in on?
Let's talk some polls.
No. Last segment.
That's fine.
Never mind. No polls. No polls.
No, I think opening with that Candace Owen, I didn't know who that was when you were playing it, but it was fascinating to listen to what may be going on behind the scenes. Just her saying there's so many people that even they might have had the black square up on their Facebook page, but they're contacting her and saying, hey, I know you're a safe place for me to say a lot of this doesn't make sense. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
I think, Rush Limbaugh, I've heard him say this on the air many times, how many people over the course of the last decades have quietly, Sean Hannity has said this too, like reached out to him or contacted him or seen him and like just been quietly supportive of the conservative way, but they can't publicly come out and do that because in some cases it's career suicide. Isn't that ridiculous?
It's like McCarthyism all over again.
It is ridiculous. I mean, Katie, you've come out as a conservative to a lot of your friends. I mean, I don't know if do they consider you, are you should you just might as well be wearing a MAGA hat around them as far as they're concerned? Or
No. It's just definitely not that they don't think that way, but it's just an interesting conversation. It's always an interesting conversation because somewhere along the lines too, even my very, very liberal friends, we go into it thinking that we're I'm very conservative, they're very liberal. And at the end of the conversation, we meet our roads, they cross somewhere in the middle to where they're believing something a little bit more conservative than they thought. And I'm leaning towards something a little bit more liberal than I thought, which is very nice in my inner circle of friends. But when we're talking about these celebrities that are coming out and kind of being like, screw this, I don't want to be a part of this movement anymore. Joe Rogan, I told you this, Annie, Joe Rogan made this huge move from Los Angeles to Texas. And he's been kind of saying that he was going to do this for a long time because when the shutdowns happened and he realized that California was going to be very strict on the shutdowns, he got very nervous. And so did the whole entire comedy culture. The whole entire everybody that was doing stand-up was like, we're not going to make a living. We're not going to have jobs anymore. And so he's been kind of preaching about moving to Texas for a while. And, usually people say those things and they don't do it.
Remember all those people who were going to leave the country if Trump got elected? Yeah,
Exactly. And he finally left Los Angeles and moved to Texas, I think right about whenever the Spotify deal happened. And he was like, the main reason why I left is because it's rampant with violence. It's crazy with homelessness. And I don't think I have my freedoms anymore. Everything that I had is stripped away from me now. And so I want to start over at a place that, the population might not be as big as Los Angeles, wherever he's living in Texas. And I want to have my freedom back. And I don't think I got that in California.
Brandon Morse writes on Red State. The headline is Trump accepts Joe Rogan's offer for an unbiased debate platform, but will Biden? Oh, gosh. The world's most well-known podcaster, Joe Rogan, has featured many different guests on his show from all different political bents, but now Rogan is offering to host 2 guests for what may be the most balanced and honest debate anyone's ever seen. President Trump and his Democratic opponent, Joe Biden, are set to have debates, but the state of the media's reputation for being fair is garbage. An August Gallup poll found that 84% of Americans believe that the media is to blame for the division in America today, thanks to wildly uncontained political bias. I mean, do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast with regularity, Katie?
Yes, I sure do.
What would that be like? For people who don't know who Joe Rogan is, what would a Joe Rogan moderated debate?
Absolutely amazing. It would be fantastic. Well, so Chris Wallace is going to be the first moderator of the debates that are coming up. Imagine that kind of person. He is very down the middle. He is very fair. He'll give points to the people that he thinks have done a great job. And he will also make sure to criticize you if he thinks that you're doing a very poor job. And that's why what makes his podcast so interesting is because he has had Candace Owens on his podcast. He has had Ben Shapiro on his podcast, and he's found so much common ground with these people that are very conservative. And on the other hand, he'll have very, very liberal people on and he'll test them. He'll push them and say, why do you believe what you believe?
Here's what's interesting about this story to me is that I don't think there's a snowball's chance that Biden will take this.
No.
First of all, but second,
well, wait, why do you think that Joe Biden wouldn't want to?
Biden to me is like having a flashlight with a dying battery and going for a long hike in the woods. It is not going to work out. It's not going to make it.
I don't know. He might be open to it.
I don't think it's even because of that quote. I think the idea of him sitting in that format just would frighten everybody associated with this campaign.
Why would you go play on an even playing field when you've never had to do it before?
Yep.
Why would you do that?
We hope that that's what the debates are. They'll be at least evener than usual, but we'll see.
They never are.
No, but to my A is I don't think that Biden will take that. B is that I think that's not necessarily a bad thing because Joe Rogan has a huge audience.
Yes.
And now for 2 months, he's going to be talking more about how weak Biden is for not taking him up on this offer when Trump did.
Another just crushing 2020 news, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will be a TV-only event without a live procession.
So
how do you do a parade without parading?
So stupid.
This is from Fox News. The iconic Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will not be live this year because of coronavirus risks. Instead, viewers will be able to, quote, feel the spirit and joy of that day, end quote. Shut up. On television and online, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said on Monday, of course he did, quote, one of the most beloved events every year is the Thanksgiving Day Parade. I always want to express my appreciation to everyone at Macy's. They are extraordinarily civically minded. We saw what they did on July 4th with an amazing fireworks display. They're going to do the same thing again with the Thanksgiving Day Parade. It will not be the same parade we're used to. It will be a different kind of event. They're reinventing the event for this moment in history. The parade is a tradition dating back to 1924 and will be modified, quote, for the first time in its more than 90-year history, end quote, for television audiences.
I'm glad they addressed that because my first thought when you said that the Macy's parade wouldn't have a crowd was how will I experience the spirit and joy of that day? And they said
virtually
that they will
just like
still
you've experienced the spirit and joy of all of 2020 virtually
on television.
I hate
2020
this
I'm
idea.
experiencing you through TV. Thank you.
Do you guys watch the parade?
Yes.
No.
I do.
I do.
We watch it. We watch it with the kids. We do. I think we often will just record it so that we can watch it when we get up and do our own thing on Thanksgiving morning. But we watch that and then we watch the dog show.
The dog show.
Are the dogs going to wear masks?
What are they going to do? Right. I hate this idea. I just wish they would replay from another year. Just do that.
Yeah, replay the original. The first one you have on tape. Play that one. That'd be fun to watch, actually.
That'd be cute. I think it'd be
Watching the commentators from the
fuzzy.
early 70s or late 60s or something.
Hey.
And here comes Captain Kirk from the original Star Trek. I don't know why we said original because right now it's actually on the air, but that's what we're saying.
Woody says Macy's parade should just play last year's parade again. So he agrees with you.
Yeah.
Do you know how old William Shatner is?
85?
Katie, how old do you think William Shatner is?
I thought he was more like 80, 81.
He's 89 years old.
What?
Somebody tweeted that and I'm like, well, that's fake news. And then I Googled it. I'm like, that is not fake news. He's 89.
No.
Good
No
genes are good docs,
way.
folks. Yeah, I know. Now y'all are Googling it because you think I'm full of crap, and that's fine. You just go Google that. He's 89 years old.
He's got great genes. Ringo Starr has great genes. I'm telling you what.
Tiger blood.
The tiger blood.
Wasn't that remember when Charlie Sheen lost his mind?
Mm-hmm.
Winning. Remember when he kept saying winning? And everyone's like, wow, Charlie Sheen is nuts. And then Donald Trump started running for election and he's like, winning. And everyone's like, yeah, hashtag winning. We'll do that.
Genius.
So much winning. There'll be so much winning. You'll be tired of winning. It's
Poor
unbelievable.
Charlie Sheen. My gosh.
So then
No,
everybody got
I
on the
don't know
Sheen
about
train.
that. I don't know that I feel sorry for Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
I
he
think
might
some
have
of
done it to
Charlie
himself.
Sheen's wounds are very self-inflicted.
That's probably
Okay,
Don't do
Stan
drugs, people.
Kroenke comes out as a Trump supporter. Whose camp are you in?
I'm nothing Stan Kroenke. There are a
So
lot
you'd
of
still
people
be
who
against
support
him.
Trump that I can't stand, and there are a lot of people who support Biden that I love dearly. Stan Kroenke gets stop saying his name. He's the name. We said his
Evil.
name like 3 times on this show
He's
today.
Voldemort.
Yeah, I think it was Jason Whitlock said, "Okay, I don't like the Rams' new uniforms." Or something, and I was like, you just should have stopped after I don't like the Rams. I can't handle it. And I liked the Rams. I loved the Rams. I would probably take them back. But Stan Kroenke needs to pay for his sins to America and the world and me specifically. DGS coming up next.
So beat the drum.
This weather update brought to you by Woods Base